Do you want to make a difference in a sustainable carbon-neutral world? Harnessing the power of green energy, innovating next-generation technologies, and visualizing what lies ahead. Do you want to make a difference by anticipating change on the horizon and brave new opportunities to embrace? Facing challenges with endeavour in a culture that celebrates individuals. Do you want to make a difference? Building on a century of motoring heritage to craft the future of global luxury, becoming the leader in advanced mobility and driving the next 100 years of our journey. Be the difference. Make it at Bentley Motors.
Cliff, and I'm the Human Factors Group Leader in EDF's Nuclear Services business.
I'm Tunde Tijani, and I'm on the Science and Engineering graduate scheme.
My name is Honey Bullet. I'm a project controls apprentice at Hinkley.
So my current role covers pretty much all aspects of the nuclear life cycle. So my team supports the defuelling sites, which are going to be handed over to the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority in the coming years. We also support the operational sites, which include Sizewell B, which are going for a 20-year life extension at least till 2050, and also we're supporting the new build projects of Hinkley Point C and Sizewell C. I think I was most surprised by the number of different technical disciplines that are so key to the running of nuclear sites. I myself am from a physics background, so I was expecting everything to be very centred around physics, and I was really surprised when I got into the company at how many different aspects, even just within science and engineering, that there are that are so pivotal to the success of the sites.
My role at HPC is expanding my skill set in ways that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Developing my knowledge in each project controls discipline by working with lots of different people and teams, as well as developing my knowledge in the construction industry and the nuclear industry.
So nuclear power stations create energy by splitting atoms apart. That energy is then captured as heat, which is then used to boil some water from water into steam. That steam is then piped off to spin a turbine, which then is connected to a generator, which spins to produce electricity, which is then provided to the grid.
The importance of nuclear cannot be underestimated, most especially with us going towards net zero and low carbon emission now. Nuclear plays an important role.
HPC's main drive is helping Britain reach net zero, and I'm helping in the construction of that, which will help tackle climate change. I make sure that I take as many steps as possible to try and improve the health of the planet. It makes me feel good that I'm making changes in my personal life as well as helping construct something that will help the UK massively.
Nuclear is one of the ways through which Britain hopes to have net zero. So I feel so much value that I'm contributing to an important cause, both now and for the future generation as well.
I chose this training programme because there are endless opportunities for me to do once I've finished the apprenticeship, and there are so many career paths that I could take that I wouldn't be able to find anywhere else.
Climate change is one of the biggest threats to people's lives and livelihoods around the globe, so I can't think of a much better cause to centre my career on.
Young people don't just wake up one day and decide to break the law. As an officer, part of my job is stopping violent crime, but it's also my job to build trust with these young people so they don't join gangs or go down that path in the first place.
Okay. So it's quite a connection.
My career has been really varied and rewarding. I've policed major events and worked on emergency response, but I'm most proud of what I'm doing now, protecting vulnerable victims and bringing criminals to justice.
I've honestly been surprised by how many different roles I've experienced during my training. From response and local policing to protecting victims. I'm learning so much, and I'm proud to be keeping community safe. I can't wait to see where my career takes me next.
When that call comes in, you never know what's going to happen, and that can be really challenging. But it's so rewarding to know every time I put on my uniform and take that call, day and night, I'm tackling crime and protecting people.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
Do you think, had you not played football, you would be as good as you are at your job? She was good. Yeah, how about I just do the pedals and you do the wheel?
Well, you need to let go of the pedals first.
Come on, oh, that beat you. I'll go for a rest.
Foxhound 1, crossing report line 1 now, over.
1-0 Alpha, this is 0.
My location grid. Lima. 7. Habit 1-1. This will be a type 2 control bomb. One times 5 4 with 15 milliseconds delay. 1-1.
Hello and welcome to Race to Your Career.
I suppose the best thing about this industry is how helpful everyone is and how everyone wants you to succeed.
Horse bars, and I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I mean, take away the idea of cucumbers on eyes.
How many traineeships or apprenticeships are available?
We offer around 250 what I would call horse-facing apprenticeships.
Working in it, you see how many different careers that it can take you in.
Like it's a nice place to be, you know, and just kind of letting people know that you can come into this industry quite easily and you are going to be well.
Can basically click onto our QR code and obviously register that way. And then there is a programme where we offer youngsters basically that are already on the programme, if they want to refer a friend in. Careers Wales can also refer into the programme as well.
After this course, I'm hoping to find a good job that I love doing, and then just help my family out however I can with money and just live a happy life. Yeah.
You're going to be guided through a huge host of apprenticeship opportunities that are open to you right away. But if you're not ready to get into one right away, that's okay. This evening, we're going to be giving you all the information you need to figure out whether or not an apprenticeship is right for you, and if it is, how to best prepare yourself for applying and eventually starting your apprenticeship. This evening, we're joined by the Met Police, BT, Bournville, Bentley, EDF Energy, and the BMW Group. So, plenty of voices, plenty of opportunities, and plenty of stories to tell. So, without further ado, let's get into our first session back in Collyer-Fergusson Music Hall in Canterbury, where Hope is joined by two lovely employees from the Metropolitan Police.
Hello and welcome to your guide to apprenticeships, brought to you by Not Going to Uni and powered by Kent Television. You join me today from a music theatre here in Canterbury, and I'm not alone in a studio. I have a live audience with me. My name is Hope Ellen and I'll be your host this evening, where over the next few hours you're going to hear from a huge number of people and employers discussing and exploring the world of apprenticeships, from entry-level qualifications, level 2, to level 7 degree apprenticeships, because yes, you can get a degree through an apprenticeship nowadays. We're starting off our evening by chatting to the Metropolitan Police. Then, for those watching at home, our studio presenter Noor is going to be speaking with BT. Then we're blasting over to Birmingham to hear from Bournville. And after that, we're back here for 3 remaining sessions from Bentley, EDF Energy and a panel from BMW Group apprentices. So for everyone watching at home, if you have any questions this evening for our employers, do pop your questions in the chat box. I will either ask our panellists live, or they'll be answering you in the chat from a representative who's there to answer your questions. Today is being recorded, so once our broadcast has finished, all of the content will be available on demand. And do check out our website and social media for so much more. Now, our first guest, the Metropolitan Police, are running a little bit late because we are in the live showbiz world. So we're going to go to a quick 5-minute break and they'll be here with us shortly to discuss all things apprenticeships. Good evening. And thank you for joining us for your guide to apprenticeships, brought to you by Not Going to Uni and broadcast by Kent Television. We are waiting for our first guests to arrive, the Metropolitan Police. They are due to be here shortly, and we do apologise for the delay. But later on, we have got some more excitement coming your way. We're going to be having Noor, our studio presenter, chatting to BT. Then we're going to be hearing from Bournville in Birmingham. And then we're going to have a session with Bentley, EDF Energy and BMW Group apprentices. So do make sure that you're staying tuned. We'll be back shortly when our first guests arrive. And welcome back to your guide to apprenticeships. The Metropolitan Police are now here. Were you busy fighting crime?
I wish we could say that. It's traffic.
Traffic was a bit of a nightmare. Well, you're here now. That's what's important. So if we can start by hearing your names and a little bit about your role that you do.
My name's Kaylon Parks. I'm a police officer. I'm 30 years old. And my role is currently outreach, which is diverse recruitment.
My name is PC Hittle Gohill. I've had a career for 19 years and I do outreach. I've done various careers within the job, but yeah.
So 19 years for the Metropolitan Police?
Yes.
Wow. How many years for you?
8 years now, yeah.
8 years.
Yeah,
okay. So 8 years ago, what made you decide that you wanted to join the Met Police?
It was working with kids in nurseries and then noticing signs of abuse, but obviously when you refer them to social services, it's a very, very slow process. So I thought, what can I do to work with kids, especially in welfare? And policing was the one thing that actually linked everything up.
Perfect. And what made you join 19 years ago?
I think for me, I was fresh out of university, didn't really know what I wanted to do, applied for a couple of different things. Policing definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do, or more like I didn't have my heart set on it. But I did go to a careers fair and I did see a Sikh officer with a turban on, a bit of inspiration, spoke to him and he said, look, give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? So I did. I applied. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell them at all that I was applying, not because I was ashamed, but I just didn't want to disappoint them. So I went through the whole process, and then 6-7 months later, I got my application going through. I'd passed everything, and then I said to my parents that I was moving out, and they were like, "What?" I said, "Well, guess where I've got into? I've got into Hendon, and I'm going to do police training," and that was it. And then. That was then nearly 19 years ago.
That's quite a big thing to keep from your parents, isn't it?
Yes, it was, but it wasn't. I wasn't ashamed of what I was applying for. I just didn't want to disappoint them, because I had heard years and years before that it's one of the hardest kind of places to get into the police. Obviously, with the vetting and everything else, the waiting was 2 years, but I got in within the year. So I think. Yeah, I didn't want to disappoint them more than anything. Not that I'm ashamed. I actually do love my job. It's one of the best careers I've had. I've done various roles, so yeah, the Met gives you a lot of a variety. Is that a good word? Variety. It gives a lot of variety within what you can do and what you want to achieve out of it. So with like 3,000 different roles within the police, obviously that's staff roles and police officer roles. Your choice is limitless.
You mentioned seeing a policeman who was Sikh.
Yes.
So was representation one of the reasons that you didn't think it was an option?
I think that was, for me, that was as well, being ethnic minority and a female, where I grew up in London, I didn't see many females, let alone someone that actually looks like me. So for me, that was another inspiration why I wanted to join. And obviously, 20 years on, I'm hoping I'm inspiring other females and ethnic minorities to join, because if I saw someone like me 20 years ago, it is inspiration, not seeing someone like you walking around. And now I go into police stations, we do see a lot more diversity and a lot more females. So yeah, definitely.
Friends and family, now that you've told them, have they joined the force? Was there any connection before you started?
I think after literally I joined, I think about a couple of years later, we've had loads of our family, friends. Most recently, we've got one of my family friends' daughters. They've just finished university in Nottingham. Was it Nottingham or Northampton?
One of the ends.
Yeah, one of the ends. And they've joined the Metropolitan Police as officers. And they did say, yeah, well, you were kind of an inspiration there. So I was like, yeah, no. So yeah, definitely we have had people join after me. So.
Wow. What about you? Any of your family or friends were in the police before you joined?
Nope, there was no one that looked like me within my community that was doing this job. I joined blind without knowing a thing. That was the thing 8 years ago in terms of the Caribbean community, especially in South East London. There wasn't the greatest representation, and also there wasn't the greatest relationship with police. So for me joining, it was kind of going to the dark side, let's say perhaps. And to be honest, I haven't looked back. It's been amazing. I've enjoyed it. Yes, there has been ups and downs, but that's with everything in life.
So with that kind of cultural sense of seeing it as a dark side, what characteristics did you possess that allowed you to push through that and not let that stop you?
I like to find the root of my opinion, and a lot of people don't do that. So for example, policing, I never had a negative opinion. When I learnt about policing, that's when I developed opinions. Other people's opinions or views, or how could I say, stereotypes and negative connotations. So it's being able to separate yourself from that, especially to learn something. I think it's just a helpful tool, let's say, to get through the rumours.
And we've heard about your roles, but what other roles are available to people?
Oh, okay. I wish that...
A long list is coming our way.
So there's Marines who work underwater, there's schools officers, there's social media officers that deal with social media only, there's counter-terrorism, there's surveillance, there's mounted, which is riding horses, there's firearms, there's close protection, there's... I'm trying to think. There's some that work in helicopters, there is... CID, which is central the intelligence in terms of secondary investigation, so DCs. There's domestic violence, there's child sexual exploitation, sexual offences, there's drugs, there's gangs, there's quite many. There's county lines, I can keep going.
You're doing very well. So how does someone choose which area to go into if they're joining the police? Where do they even begin?
To be honest, where you start off usually is response team. With response, you learn a lot of skills. It exposes you to what you like, what you don't like. It's very reactive policing, and you develop as a person. Some people fit in response, that's their mindset. However, some people feel, I might have a different potential here. I might be able to go somewhere else, and you apply. With our internal job site, you kind of look at things that might apply to you and go, oh, I like this, let me try this. And you just try it before you like it and go for attachments. So you stay in response team and move around and try as much as you can of different things. And you might find something that you like that you didn't even know about.
And that's where the variety comes in that you mentioned earlier. How has policing changed you?
You go first.
I would say it's made me more confident, definitely. To what I was 19 years ago, yeah, it's definitely confident. Also, I think with policing, you deal with a lot of situations, you deal with a lot of death to happiness. So you have to be comfortable in yourself. You have to have that good communication, the understanding, just really being yourself. But it has made me more confident in dealing with situations and how you would deal with stuff.
How proud of yourself are you?
Very proud. Very proud. Yeah, definitely. From what I was 20 years ago to what I am now, yes, I am proud.
And looking back 19 years ago, what skills and traits have you brought to policing?
My cultural needs, really. I think when we go into Asian households, we usually take our shoes off, where before we would just go in and it's like learning about different stuff, learning about different cultures, religions. That's it, really. Kind of just me being me and telling my fellow officers, oh yeah, it's Diwali today and this is what we do in Diwali and this is what we eat, and also bringing in food for them. So every Diwali I would, on team, they would know it's Diwali because they knew it was like November, October time. So they would expect kind of samosas and sweets. So it's that kind of bringing my culture, my religion into a service that had never had that before. And it's taken time, where you do see when we're in the canteen, people are eating kebabs and samosas and where it's that variety where we are. We're living in a multicultural London where it is very about diversity and about different religions. So yeah.
Anything to add to that? You mentioned that you'd worked with children.
Yeah, I'm a very unserious person, so bringing that to work was quite easy. When you speak to police officers, they're quite serious most of the time because they're thinking about other things. But for me, it's being unserious, being empathetic, and you can't teach empathy. I know you can do a test for empathy, but you can't really teach it. You can tell someone to be sympathetic. But working with kids, obviously doing health and social care, that was part of the job. You kind of bring that to your work, especially. And policing has changed me in the sense of, I think I was very, very simple before policing. I could say that, and I could be honest. Working with kids, you kind of just look at what's in front of you, but when you grow up and deal with other people's lives, how they're affected by certain things, where you sit in the criminal justice system, the use of forces that you're using, it affects so much more than just the person. It affects a society, it affects a community. So I think I've become more aware of where I stand in terms of community and policing.
That's brilliant. It's made you more intelligent and open-minded.
Yeah, pretty much.
To the world around you. Wow. Talk to me about the diversity side from your angle.
The diversity side, so in regards to me joining 8 years ago, being in Brixton, I learnt that they only saw black people, let's say, when there was a lot of fights or loud events going on, because there's a lot of Jamaicans, and there was a lot of negative connotations with that. And because when I was there, I started to speak to people in the public and go, oh, what's going on? And just break down the barriers, getting fed and telling the officer, try this and jerk chicken and whatever it is. It was kind of, I can say, lowering their guard, not thinking that the worst is always going to happen. Now knowing who they are, being able to go to them and ask them for a statement instead of the wall of silence that's usually being met. So me being there was the conduit, I would say, for a lot of things that could have gone absolutely wrong, rather than me just being there, and it's made it easier to deal with.
It also sounds like food has helped you along the way.
Oh, food is universal. Food is universal.
So talk to me about your career plan. 8 years.
Oof, yeah.
So what's changed in terms of your career path to date, and what would you like to do in the future?
So for me, when I originally joined 8 years ago, I thought I'm going to be working with children throughout. And I have done that in terms of missing kids from response and such. But then I thought, how can I affect the criminal justice system, especially youth? It's taken me a while, but I've passed my sergeant exam, and now I want to go into custody and obviously affect it there, because realistically, I don't think youth get a great time in society. They're born in a hard time where cost of living, all sorts of things are going on. So I just want to help out where I can help out with them. So that's completely changed from when I started. That's the honest truth.
Is that because you were inspired?
Yeah, I became more aware of what was going on. Like I said, I've changed, I've become more aware. But at the same time, doing nothing, I'd feel guilty if I'm in a position like this, someone from my community in a position working in policing. I'm seeing things go wrong in my community and not doing anything. It's a bit contradictory, isn't it?
So what advice would you give to someone viewing this, or someone in our live audience who is thinking about joining the police?
Okay. Advice, what would I say? I would say, for example, dragon fruit. I've never eaten it in my life. I would never walk around talking about how it tastes, how it feels, what it smells like. Policing should be like that. If you've not tried it, try it and find out what you like about it. Find out how you feel about it. Then you can develop your own opinions, because a lot of people are unfortunately riding off the negative connotations of what they think policing is. They call us cops and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's American. And there's so many things that go wrong in terms of the transparency that we have. Go and ask a police officer a question. Actually speak to them like a human, and you'll learn so much about policing. But for me, it's develop your own thoughts about policing.
Any advice from you?
Like what Kaylon said, yeah, it's not everyone's choice of career. It wasn't mine, definitely, but going into it 19 years ago, definitely it's an eye-opener. There are so many different things that you can do in there. You can develop yourself. So for me, I had kind of mindset what I wanted to do. I wanted to join CID. I wanted to be a DC. I did. But as I had done my journey through the career, the first 6 years I done was response team, which do the 999 calls. I really enjoyed myself. I felt like while I was there, I was a part of a big family. We used to do nights out together. So for me, it almost felt like I was leaving my family to do something else. I think as you grow, you take an interest in certain things. So I wanted to go into more of the kind of missing, wanted people. So that's where I went to next. I had kids within my career. I had to kind of take a step back from that because it was quite demanding, and I don't think I could do the hours. So for me, I went part-time, and I was a safer schools officer, which was fantastic. Same kind of work, but kind of working with youth, kind of trying to educate them about stuff that's going on around, and more kind of becoming their friends and not seeing police as the enemy and someone that they can confide in. And then from there, I've joined Outreach, which is another passion of mine, to get more females and ethnic minorities into the Metropolitan Police.
Well, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and thank you so much for sharing both of your journeys today and all of that key advice. If anyone wants to get in touch with you to find out more, how could they do so? That's for you, apparently.
Did you see the way the mic got passed? So you can go on the Metropolitan Police website, and in the career section, there's additional support and events. You could find Outreach there. And on top of that, if you're watching this and you're going to play this back, you can type in outreach@met.police.uk, which is quite easier. It's an email address. If you send an email, I will most likely respond. So, yeah, email, or if you want, on our website, there is careers and events, and you can go to any event which is there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both so much for your time today. We're now going to throw over to our other presenter, Noor, who's in the studio with BT.
If you want to find out more about the Met Police or any other career opportunities, head on over to the Not Going to Uni website, notgoingtouni.co.uk. Here, you'll be able to search for opportunities, read up on potential employers, check out our advice hub, and much more. We even have a dedicated area just for parents and carers if you want to help prepare your young one for the world of work. Up next, we're jumping over to our studio to have a chat with Dipali, who's joining us remotely from BT to talk about BT Apprenticeships. As always, if you've missed the last session or want to re-watch any of this evening's live stream, then you can find this live stream and all of our other content on our YouTube channel. But for now, sit back, relax, and let's get going with BT. Thanks very much, Hope, and thank you to the Met Police for that great session. First of all, welcome to everyone watching at home, and welcome to the NGTU studio. Unfortunately, BT couldn't be with us this evening, so instead I'll be chatting online with Dipali, who's going to tell me all about her journey to and into BT, and we'll also be taking a look at all the opportunities available to you if you're considering a career with BT. So let's get into it. Hello, so please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dipali Gosai and I'm 22 years old and I work at BT Group.
Great. So what apprenticeship programme are you currently doing?
So I'm in my last year of the Level 6 Digital Technology Solutions Software Engineering Pathway Degree Apprenticeship.
Okay, great. And what was your route into doing an apprenticeship? Were you ever considering any other options like university?
This is an interesting question. So initially I applied to both. I applied to university and the apprenticeships. So what happened was I kind of went to the career advisor at school because I kind of found out about apprenticeships but didn't know too much about them. So I went to the career advisor and the career advisor kind of just gave me a bunch of leaflets and said to go on the government website and look for apprenticeships, which I did already do, but I didn't find anything that kind of interested me due to wanting to kind of having a degree out of either options that I did. So I sat down with my brother in the end and we wrote a list of places that I wanted to kind of apply to and then went from there. So I kind of went onto BT's website and looked at the vacancies that they had going on for apprenticeships, and I found quite a few different pathways that consisted of degrees as well, which was kind of what I wanted to do, and from there I just applied to the apprenticeship but also had university offers from kind of all 5 of my
when you applied to all the universities, you were able to get offers for all of your applications then?
Yeah, so I applied to all 5 and got offers from all 5, as well as getting offered the degree apprenticeship with BT. However, I then decided to take the apprenticeship as that's kind of what I initially wanted to go with, and I figured that was where my heart lied.
Fair enough. And what does your apprenticeship programme look like at BT Group? Do you have rotations? Are you just in kind of one role? How is it kind of all working for you at the moment?
So I'm currently a software-based apprentice, but I do currently I am a Scrum Master, and I work with teams to manage their workloads, as well as kind of doing the software tasks on the side.
Oh, okay, that's really interesting. And how do you find being an apprentice at BT Group? How's the social side? Are you able to network? Is there anything that you do outside of your role at the moment?
Yeah, so we have loads of different groups and networking sessions that they hold, and we also have obviously like nights out and stuff, so I feel like from a social aspect it's not lacking. You essentially start an apprenticeship with different other apprentices around the same age, older. You know, you get mixing with a range of different people, and I feel like you grow as a person.
Okay. And are these groups something that you're kind of it's your own initiative to join, or are they kind of scheduled in for you? How does it work from your side?
I'd say there's a bit of both. There's a lot of ones that are scheduled in for us that they kind of encourage us to join, and then there's kind of ones that are there that are ones that you might potentially want to join if you're interested in them. So it's quite a nice variety. It's never compulsory to join any, but it is nice to obviously join them if you've got the time to. It just helps with networking, of course.
Of course. And how do you find you're being treated within the business and as an apprentice?
I feel as though that working in BT Group has just been like the best thing, because I feel as though with apprentices there's also that stereotype where you will be treated kind of lower than any other team member that works at a company, but with BT Group they don't. There's a lot of employees that just treat you like you're a normal team member, because essentially you are working a full 9 to 5, and I just feel like it's quite they're very welcoming, which is nice.
Yeah, well, I guess that's really important for anything that you do. And if you were to give someone advice who was picking between university and doing an apprenticeship, what would that advice be?
I would 100% recommend apprenticeships to people. This is just a personal preference, because obviously I'm biased, I went down that route. But what I would say is that if there is a pathway a career pathway that you know that you want to do, and there is apprenticeships that kind of align with that, then I would 100% recommend going with them. However, it is vital to kind of look into what you want to do and see if it's worth going to university, because there's not always a direct pathway with apprenticeships.
Yeah, you mentioned that you kind of sat down and did a list with your brother. What sorts of things did you include in that list, for example?
So it was quite a short list, but it was a list essentially to see what companies I wanted to work for in the career path that I was choosing. So I was choosing to go down the information technology, so the IT type of background, so technology, all of that sort. So BT was obviously one of the biggest ones that obviously everyone knows about. Then comes like BBC, ITV. So I didn't really see too much on the apprenticeships anywhere at the time, but going onto their websites really helped to see what they actually had to offer.
So what types of other apprentice opportunities are available at BT Group?
So BT offers quite a range of different apprenticeships, ranging from level 2 to level 6. And that just means that there's something for kind of everyone that would want to look into doing an apprenticeship. It goes from kind of apprenticeships in customer service to software engineering to project management, cybersecurity, field engineering, and these are all ranging also from hybrid working or the field, like being on the field and working there, which is quite cool, because of course there's engineers that work out in the fields and there's people that might want to go down that pathway.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who might be stuck deciding between what apprenticeship opportunities they want to do? What do you think they should be thinking about?
I would say to the individual to kind of look into weighing up the pros and cons of both and seeing whether the traditional route of going to university is kind of what they want to do, and so if the traditional route of university and then going into work is kind of what they want to do, or if they're not too bothered about that, or they don't mind starting work, then obviously an apprenticeship is working but also getting the education out of it. So it's kind of evaluating how you are as a person and how you think what the best outcome would be for yourself.
And you mentioned that, you know, you have a lot of different types of apprenticeship opportunities at BT Group. If someone wanted to work for the company but they weren't sure about what specific apprenticeship type to go into, is there any advice that you'd offer to help them decide between all the variety of opportunities that are available?
I would kind of say, obviously, you would read up on all the different types of apprenticeships that they have, but also see what you're interested in. So if you're completely unsure, but you kind of have a few you're umming and ahhing about, I would say think about what you see yourself doing in the long run, or for a couple of years even, just because you would be going into an apprenticeship and be committing to doing that for a good few years. And obviously no one wants to go into something that they're not 100% interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that just thinking about, again, comes down to how you are as a person, where your interest lies, and just going from that.
That's really solid advice. And has doing an apprenticeship allowed you to make friends and create a network?
Yeah, 100%. So I have quite a few different friends from actually different areas of the business as well, that I've kind of picked up from doing different projects, which I'm quite happy about, because I wouldn't have met these people if I didn't get involved with the different projects that I have done. And some of these people I speak to outside of work, and I just know that I would stay in touch, whether it's in work or outside of work, which is really nice.
So do you get to work with other people from different parts of the business then? Is that how you've been able to also make those connections?
So there are opportunities where a project might come, and you might get an email kind of asking for volunteers to get involved with something. So, for example, I got involved with a induction process for apprentices and grads that were coming in. So that's kind of how I networked with other people from the other side of the business, which was quite nice, because I still to this day speak to a couple of the girls since this project kind of happened, and it was 2022 September, and we still speak, so it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see other people in different parts of the business so you know what's going on, I guess.
Definitely.
Good. And what was the application process like for your apprenticeship programme?
So how it kind of works is that if you meet the initial criteria as such of BT, then you'll get invited to an online assessment, and from there it kind of goes on to a video interview. So you would sit and do a video interview kind of from your home or wherever you wish to obviously take this interview from. If you are successful in that stage, then you get invited to an assessment centre where you spend the day being assessed with different skill sets and being in group environments, individually, kind of interviews, and then thereafter that you kind of get a final interview before you are recruited.
Okay, and do you have any hints and tips for someone who is about to start an application with BT Group?
Yeah, so I would say to kind of research about the company, find out their company values, just be yourself really, be confident with what you know, go in being the best version of yourself as well, knowing that and also coming out of it knowing that you've kind of done the best you can. So yeah.
And how did you prepare for your interviews, especially the video interviews? Because I know that quite a few people can sometimes get a bit worried about that.
Yeah, so with the video interviews in particular, I kind of wrote down a list of questions that I thought I was going to be asked, kind of the typical standard interview questions, but also related them around BT as well, which I think is kind of important because they are recruiting you for their company, so they would want you to know as much as you can about their company, and believing in what the company has to offer. So I kind of went down that route, revised, which was a big thing, obviously, practicing around people that you have around you. I think that's a big thing. And if not, just kind of knowing that you have the ability to talk to, or just to have that a conversation with someone is a big thing as well. So in the video interviews, although you are not essentially talking to someone, but just being comfortable enough to answer the question, knowing that, or pretending that someone is there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what was the most difficult part of the interview process for you? And if you could go back, is there anything that you'd want to kind of do better? I mean, obviously you've got the position, but there's always that improvement. And if there is anyone who's a bit worried about it, what kind of things would you suggest for them?
I definitely think it is the video interview aspect, because I feel like it is such a different type of interview. You wouldn't. It's become a big thing nowadays. I know that in the past it might have not been even a thing, but I feel like now companies are moving to the direction of video interviews as one of their stages. So I feel like it was kind of a thing to get used to, because like I said previously, you're talking to a screen and answering a question without someone being there. Again, it's like practicing in front of a mirror with the answers. So essentially, you are talking to yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess you can also
that was
see yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you've really enjoyed whilst doing your apprenticeship at BT Group?
I just think it's the wide range of age groups that they have at BT, because you could go to work and be talking to someone that's a lot older than you, and just you learn a lot from different age people, because everyone comes with their own experiences. I feel like sharing those experiences with other people is a big thing as well. So I feel like that's kind of been quite enjoyable, because you gain knowledge about work, but you also gain knowledge about life through these people.
Yes. And once you finish your apprenticeship, what are the next steps for you? What does your progression look like?
I think I will stick with BT and go from there, kind of, because I'm quite enjoying what I'm doing at the moment with the leadership type of role I've got. So kind of progressing through the leadership type of role, I think.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It's been really insightful to hear about your experience at BT Group. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning into the session, but don't go anywhere because we've got so much more to come. Up next, we're jumping over to Birmingham, where Mondelez will be talking to us all about careers at Bournville. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. If you want to find out more about opportunities at BT, you can check out the Not Going to Uni website, notgoingtouni.co.uk. If you need a little bit more help preparing for the world of work, we have a resource hub on the website that's free for everyone to use. Just head over to the website, click on Advice Hub and select downloadable resources. Here, you'll find cover letter templates, top tips for writing your CV, support for preparing for your upcoming exams, mental health support, and so much more. There's no need to sign up, you just head on over to the website and you're good to go. But for now, it's time for another session. For this one, we're heading over to Birmingham to chat with Bournville to explore their career opportunities. So without further ado, let's go.
Welcome everyone to Apprenticeships Live here at Mondelez. My name is Emily. I'm a fourth year supply chain degree apprentice working as a seasonal demand manager. A little bit about Mondelez: we're one of the world's largest snacking corporations with operations in over 150 countries, looking after brands such as Cadbury, Oreo, Ritz, Toblerone and many, many more. In the UK, we've got around 40 apprentices currently. I'm joined by two of them today, Simran and Kieran, who are here to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kieran. I'm a second year digital technology supply chain apprentice, and I'm currently doing a digital technology solutions degree under Mondelez supply chain.
Hi, I'm Simran. I'm a second year apprentice doing digital and technology solution, and I work in the procurement function.
Amazing, so thank you so much for joining me. To kick things off, let's get into it. What made you decide to go down the apprenticeship route, and specifically what made you decide to apply for an apprenticeship here at Mondelez?
I think for me, I'm one of three children, the youngest, and the other two were both doing degree apprenticeships, so I already knew the benefits of doing them instead of the traditional route going through UCAS and going straight up to university for 3 years. But why I looked specifically at Mondelez was because all the other ones I looked at were all on-site degree apprenticeships, like things like engineering that I wasn't interested in. There wasn't something more tailored to like an office role, a management role that I thought I'd enjoy. So that's why when I saw the Mondelez roles, I think they were a bit more niche and open for what people are interested in on wider scope.
I wanted to do apprenticeship because I wanted both the experience of working in the working world and also get a degree as well, because I think if you're working you don't really get that skills that you would normally do on a traditional degree route, and the reason why I wanted to work for Mondelez is because just the working culture and the different extra activities that Mondelez have.
Yeah, amazing. And I don't know about either of you, but I remember doing my A-levels and thinking, I don't want to sit in a classroom anymore. I don't want to sit in a classroom any longer. So apprenticeships are a brilliant way, I guess, to do something different, to get into the workplace, start learning that way, meeting new people, and not sort of 3 years down the line coming out with a bit of student debt and sort of no real people experience. So
yeah.
I guess moving on from that, we all did the jump from A-levels straight into a workplace, and not a small workplace by any means. So what did Mondelez put into place for you to make that transition sort of from the school environment to the workplace a little bit easier?
For me, I'd say it was one of our inclusion groups, the Early Careers Network, and that was just a group led by someone quite senior in the business, getting all the young people that do like grads and apprentices together to kind of make relationships. So to start off with, you've got someone to go to lunch with. You realise you're not the only one in this boat. As you said, 40 apprentices in the UK. There are a lot of us. But as well as that, getting to know people and making friends, they get to know a bit about their roles, their teams, the people they work with, and before you know it, you've got a massive network. So I felt quite comfortable from the start because it was quite easily, it's like the snowball effect of getting to know people.
Yeah, I think for me it would be the support system. So when I joined, I had a buddy. So she was someone who was in the role that I was going to go into, and just having those weekly sessions and just check-in to like see how I'm getting on, if I had any questions. And then another support system would be like the early careers lead for my department. So yeah, having weekly sessions with her just to try and see if I had any questions with Aston or with any issues with my degree or just working. So yeah, the support system.
Definitely, and I know sort of we started at slightly different times, me sort of starting during COVID, so everything was a little bit different then. But I remember, and I know you guys have the same with the sort of, they do entire like customer service and logistics, the function that we're under, introductions. Sort of every 4 months you go and attend one with anybody new, whether it's early careers or people who have been in the industry for 50 odd years, but never at Mondelez, and give you an introduction. And I think that for me was the most important bit of, because you sort of come in, you know your tiny little bit of what you've got to do and you can learn that, but if you don't understand the rest of the business, nothing's going to work. So
Yeah.
that I found definitely sort of a challenge, I suppose, but sort of one that definitely helped us overcome. So obviously you've both been here for 2 years now. What has been your highlight of your apprenticeship scheme so far?
I think mine was pretty early on. I think it was after kind of my probationary period. We were especially in my function, I was one of the first apprentices of 3 to do the digital technology scheme. So we went into the leadership team for my function, presented what we'd done for the last 3 months. And I started off in a project role, so I didn't know how well I could access the role. But having their feedback saying they thought I'd done an excellent job and making me see that I've actually made some impact on the business in my 3 months of being there, straight out of school, it gave me that motivation to want to do good going forward, and it showed me that I am important in my role is necessary, and it also gave me feedback that I'm still referred to today for my wider learning. But it's just nice to get that recognition, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think my highlight would be being part of like different initiatives and doing extracurricular activities which are outside the normal day-to-day job, because it makes the working environment more fun and you have extra things to put on your CV.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that you picked up on that actually, because some of my sort of favourite things that I've done so far are the outside of the day job things. As much as a massive achievement for me is sort of, as you develop through the scheme, you get a little bit more responsibility. So I can walk into supermarkets now, see Easter eggs and go, I put them there, which is really cool. But sort of some of the stuff to me that is the most important and the thing that I've enjoyed the most is like the charity work I've been involved with. I know, Kieran, you helped to sort of organise Heartbeat Day last year.
Yes, which I thought was really interesting, because we have for 30 minutes a week on a Thursday a heartbeat call, and it's with everyone in our function. It's recognise people's success, doing business updates, like, you know, that kind of admin, but then celebrating people. And we started last year, 1 day a year, having a whole day off timetable to celebrate success, going out for food afterwards, showing what we're aiming to in the business. You all normally starts off with some free chocolate, so you can't really go wrong. But it's started to be really, we've had 2 now, it's one of my favourite days of the year, and I think planning it as well gives you all the excitement, you know, knowing, because normally you always just go to plan.
Yeah, and that achievement, I suppose, at the end of it is lovely, isn't it? Because they are such wonderful days to sort of celebrate all of our people, and sort of at the end of it, sales a part of that is wonderful. So from the highs to some of the challenges, I mean, I know we're all apprentices, we're all studying for degrees, working full time, so it'd be silly to say we haven't faced a couple of challenges on the way. But what has been your biggest challenge so far, and how has Mondelez sort of helped you overcome that and move forward?
So mine was definitely, I think I underestimated the challenges of the degree. I did maths, biology and philosophy for my A-levels. Just about opened a spreadsheet when I joined here, and then I basically went on to an 8-week intensive course for my uni where it was all coding, like JavaScript, HTML, never done it before in my life. So I struggled, I think, in silence for the first 2 weeks, then went to the head of my team, who was the head of early careers at the time, and said that I'm not sure what I want to do. If I fail this module, I can't do my degree. So she put me in touch with someone from the central digital team in Europe, and he became my mentor, and he had calls with me, showed me how to access some of my assignments, how to do the basics of coding, and even just some sites, so like some easy learning sites that were really useful for me, and I still kind of use them today in my degree. But even as much as 2 months ago, I started a new project, and he was actually the project manager of it. So with little struggles like that, it has really still expanded my network, and it's really helped me in my new project role at the moment, because it's like a seamless transition really, because the person who is kind of one of my uplines is someone I built a relationship with 1.5 years ago. But no, I did massively underestimate the degree to start off with.
My challenges would be time management, so trying to manage both uni and work at the same time. There was like one example where I was struggling with my uni assignment due to personal reasons, so I asked the early careers lead if they can get in touch with Aston to extend my deadline, and they really tried to extend it. And then also the support that I had from my manager and offering me the flexible hours so I could complete my assignments within the within the deadline.
Yeah, and I think sort of what both of you have said, and something that I can echo myself, is people want to help the apprentices. It's something I've found, sort of, no matter what the challenge is, whether that be sort of things at uni that we haven't done before, sort of struggling with a little bit of time, there are always people who want to help us. I know I was doing some modules when I first started at uni to do with warehousing and projects, and I was like, this isn't my day to day. I don't have experience here. And all it took was asking my mentor, do you know somebody who can help me out with this? And then a couple of calls later, I knew everything that I needed to know to go and do my assignment. I think that's the big thing, is people want to help us out. People like to sort of see us develop and grow through the business. So we all seem to have thoroughly enjoyed it. What are your top tips for somebody who's considering applying for an apprenticeship within the food industry?
I think it is a good idea to apply within the food and beverage industry, because the fact is you're working with different departments, and you work through the end-to-end process. So it's from putting that idea of a project on a piece of paper to actually making the project, marketing the project, and then putting it, and the logistics, and then putting it on the shelf so that a customer can buy it. So you see the whole process, and it's that little achievement that you supported with that final project.
Absolutely. And then, Kieran, do you have any tips sort of with regards to when you're applying for it? So, you know, applying yourself, any interview preparation you did?
I think more for me, I think it was kind of understanding the culture of the business, because one mindset I really went into applying for my degree apprenticeship, which is it's a compatible relationship. It's not that I need to be here or they need me. Like, it needs to work for you, the company, as well as, you know, you want to work for the company. So I think once I researched Mondelez, and then you don't realise the big, I knew the name, but you don't realise the big umbrella and plethora of brands underneath that. So I had to look at obviously the Cadbury heritage, and I thought, oh, this is definitely somewhere I want to work, and it's about kind of how you can show that you already adopt that kind of culture. But as well as that, in my actual interview, they got 2 apprentices to hop on the call already, and all the people that were assessed us jumped off, and they answered any questions we had, and they didn't feed it back to anyone else, and it made me kind of feel really comfortable going into my final interview, because then themselves gave me some tips of, you know, what they might be looking for and what might be tailored to my experience that would be relevant to bring up.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about sort of the company fit, isn't it? Because you don't want to go and work somewhere because you're not going to be able to thrive and do the best you can somewhere where you don't feel the fit is exact right. And I think with the interviews themselves in the assessment centres, it's all about sort of you and your skills and what you've done so far. And I remember thinking, I don't have anything that's relevant. I don't know sort of what I've done that's shown communication or leadership, and I was looking at sort of the list of competencies and thinking, I don't know what I've done here, nothing's relevant. And it takes a minute to sort of sit and think, actually, I did this in school, and this was a project I worked on, and like the smallest examples, whether that be from school or college or a part-time job, end up being really relevant. So it's about sort of looking where you can and finding sort of your experience, because people want apprentices. And I think that's what we found.
And you're not expected to know everything, because that's what the schemes are for you to build that knowledge base. But yeah, I completely agree.
So, speaking of apprenticeships and sort of ones that are currently open and applying for, we have currently got some open, which is fantastic. So we have got our sales, marketing and procurement apprentices that we're currently hiring for. They will all be studying towards a level 6 chartered management degree apprenticeship. We're also looking for some people services technology apprenticeships who will be looking to study a level 6 digital technology solutions apprenticeship. Lots of information you can find on that down below. They'll be split between the Kent and Aston universities, depending on whether they'll be based in our Uxbridge or Bournville offices. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find out lots more information on the QR code and link down below. Thank you to Kieran and Simran for joining me this morning, and we'll pass back to the studio.
Thanks so much to the guys at Bournville for their insights into their careers. Before we head back to Canterbury though, there's more from Mondelez to come. Up next is a highlights package from a much longer conversation we had with the Mondelez team from London. So, let's get into it.
Hi Connor, lovely to meet you. So I'm Amina. I'm a sales degree apprenticeship in my first rotation of the sales degree apprenticeship programme. My first rotation entails working in category development, and it's all about kind of assessing market performance, looking at key trends, KPIs, and communicating with other teams as well cross-functionally.
Amazing.
Hi Connor, I'm Sophie. I came off the degree apprenticeship scheme 2 years ago, so now working as a sales development executive for Sainsbury's. So going externally to Sainsbury's to sell in our biscuits range and work with them on their growth plans for this year. Just came off the same scheme as Amina did, doing category development, and then I did a field sales rotation, so going out to sell to smaller independent news agencies, and then finished with sales revenue planning, so looking at the forecasts for the year as well.
And Amina, for yourself then, when you were making that decision, how did you go about making the choice that an apprenticeship was the route for you?
Yeah, sure. So like when I completed my A-levels, I was completely uncertain about what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was kind of taking a gap year and working for a bit, as well as kind of doing a few courses and a bit of education, when I really realised that I like that combination of being able to study and being able to work at the same time. Like really being in that immersive environment where you can put theoretical knowledge into practice straight away.
So starting with you, Sophie, tell us a couple of the things, and then we'll come across to yourself, Amina, that you do in those first weeks at Mondelez.
I think before I even touch on what you do within the first weeks, I think what's really important to note in those first few weeks is the fact that there's no pressure as such. I know you mentioned before about this, you having this invisible pressure that you put on yourself, just like the reassurance that it's not an external pressure. You come in and there's no sort of expectations or pressure within the first few weeks. It is very much a case of finding your feet. They obviously appreciate that you're like just coming out of school, exactly, making that big jump, going from sort of secondary school into the business world, and they are really, really keen to support you. So you very much have sort of like a 2-week induction program, which the first week is very much focused around all the different functions within Mondelez. So you learn about sort of how finance may interact with category development or marketing, how everything ties in to sort of keep the wheels in motion, really.
And Amina, anything else that you've done? I know you're obviously on different cohorts of apprentices, so is there anything else that's been added to that?
Yeah, no, just to reiterate what Sophie said, it's a very like seamless transition process. You kind of have all the time in the world to like pick up things, learn, and there's like all the opportunity to as well. I think with my 2 weeks of inductions, it was quite interesting actually, because it was very varied. We had some within the office, we had some kind of field inductions where we'd go out to supermarkets and stuff. So it's not all kind of boring, sat there in front of a PowerPoint. It's really interesting.
How did you, one question before we come on to sort of the advice you'd give to young people, how did you find that initial juggling of university and work? Because there's so many different degree apprenticeships out there right now, and maybe one of the things that might put young people off is, well, if I do just a degree, I can just focus on the degree, and if I just do a first year job, I can just do the job and not worry. How did you find that? Because it's a big jump and it's a big ask.
Yeah, I think, like, don't get me wrong, it's hard work. Obviously, you're like we've said, you're doing a degree alongside working, so there is a lot of work from both sides that comes into that. However, I didn't find it as, like I say, as stressful as I thought I was going to, because of the support that you get. But I mean, realistically, when you look at it, if you're a secondary school student that's doing your A-levels, but then you're working as well in a part-time job, it's kind of the same, just stepped up slightly.
It's the same sort of process,
exactly. You're managing your A-levels alongside a weekend job or an evening job. So it's a case of doing the exact same. You find when works best for you, you schedule your day out and you fit the work in sort of around your workload.
What are your sort of 2 top tips you'd give a young person to make that jump into the world of work and make it as seamless as possible?
Yeah, so my first one, I think I've kind of reiterated throughout this whole session, that it's really just not putting that invisible pressure on yourself. You have all the time in the world to learn. Like, just kind of use those few weeks, use those few months even, just to absorb as much information as you can, get to know as many people as you can as well. I think that would be my second top tip, is just speak to as many people as you can, make those connections, because like Sophie said, it can be really valuable, especially coming later on with university work and coursework, when you can apply that, like actual practical real world knowledge into your coursework, it becomes really, really useful.
If a young person sat there right now and they want to find out more about the careers on offer, or they're thinking of applying today, where can they have a look?
So we've got the careers site on the Mondelez website. It's careers.mondelez.com, which essentially highlights all of the degree apprenticeships that we've got available. They are posted sort of beginning of the year, open in January, and they're open till sort of around March time. This is essentially our biggest year of hiring, and we've got sort of degree apprenticeships in loads of different functions. I don't know whether you want to...
So we've got a few different options now. I think it's 8 different degree apprenticeships we have this year. So like Sophie said, it's our biggest year of launches of degree apprenticeships. So we've got kind of roles across supply chain, across procurement, and also sales as well. They also kind of vary slightly. So with ours, we have 4 days a week at the workplace and then 1 that we're studying at university. But I know for some of them, it's kind of study blocks as well. So there's definitely that variation as well, but there's a good balance between working and studying.
Thanks so much for joining us for the World of Work Live, and we really appreciate hearing more about your stories. Thank you.
Thanks so much to all the guys at Mondelez in both Birmingham and London. If you want to know more about opportunities at Bournville and Mondelez, or anything else for that matter, our website is filled with opportunities and information, so just head on over to www.notgoingtouni.co.uk to start your career journey. The website is free to use, but if you'd like to stay in the know and keep yourself updated about upcoming opportunities, you can also sign up to stay informed. We've got a few minutes now until we get back down to Canterbury for our next session, but while we wait, here's a few videos for you to enjoy.
I'm Gerald. I currently work at Bentley Motors as a Digital Technology Solutions degree apprentice. An apprenticeship is a way to work full-time for an employer while studying for qualifications at the same time. I work 4 days in the office at Bentley, and my 1 day outside the office is at Manchester Metropolitan University, and I'm studying towards a Digital and Technology Solutions degree apprenticeship.
I'm Holly Proudfoot and I am an electrical test planning engineer. So it's an apprenticeship I started 8 years ago, and it's a combination of electrical and mechanical rectification. So as part of that we did a BTEC in engineering, and we did an IMI in motor vehicle repair and diagnostics. Doing that led me into becoming an automotive electrician at Bentley, so I was fixing and testing cars on our production line, and then became a team leader in that area. So now I'm actually creating the tests that I was running when I was an apprentice. That's what an apprenticeship's about. You learn that whilst you're earning, and the thought of that kind of pulled me in as well.
I'm Zach and I'm a degree apprentice in the design manufacturing team. So what I do here is I get involved in the projects from 4 years in advance ahead of its production schedule. It is really fun to get involved in the servicing design team. You get to see aspects that not even everyone in the whole business gets to see. And it's a proud moment when you've worked on something 4 years ahead of its production to see it going down the line, and then when it's finally launched. So I took the option of going to university, where I did a course in design for engineering. So I did that for 1 year, and then saw an opportunity to apply to Bentley Motors as a degree apprenticeship, where I thought I can get 4 years learning, 4 years education, and then I can combine that together to hopefully get a job I would like.
I love cars. I've always had a passion for it since I was younger. Every time I come to the office, my office is quite far from the car park, so it gives me a 10-minute walk, and that 10-minute walk doesn't get boring at all, just seeing all the new cars, the new specifications. So when I first started, I was new to the IT systems and everything, so I got that help and support from other apprentices, as well as my manager and also other key people in the business as well.
When I started, I was kind of 1 in 10 females, but ever since then, every year, there's been a new female mechatronic apprentice, and you see more and more around the production areas, in manufacturing, everywhere from mech to electrical testing, electrical engineering, so many more females that we see, and progressing through the business, which is amazing. And we're also doing a lot of outreach to encourage young aspiring females to join Bentley, which is something I'm really passionate about. So Girls into Bentley is an event where we have primary school children, females that are interested in STEM subjects. They come and spend the day at Bentley and learn a bit more about manufacturing and engineering roles. So one of the young females that attended the event that I ran 7 years ago actually applied for an apprenticeship and is now working in engineering. It's incredible. You feel like you've really made a difference.
The lovely thing about working at Bentley is it's not a huge work environment where you feel like you can get lost. It has a very nice, close family feel where, you really feel part of a team and part of the organisation, and you're allowed to express yourself, be who you are, without anyone judging that. My managers have always been really supportive from the start, and they put a lot of trust into you, and they'll give you the time to make you succeed and help you balance between your work and uni life. I think every apprentice is seen as a future young leader. You may be scared of the trust or the responsibility, but it's really an opportunity to demonstrate what you're good at and what you're capable of.
Best thing about being a Bentley apprentice is just meeting new people in my day-to-day job role, the opportunities I have, especially visiting Germany, and that was less than a year into my apprenticeship. To be able to have those opportunities right from the start is something that everyone should take hold of, really.
Say yes to every opportunity. Bentley can open so many doors for you and help you build that career.
Before we even started apprenticeship, I was quite stressed about how would I cope in terms of doing the university and work. But now I tell myself to just relax.
All you have to do is just be yourself, follow your passions, do what you want and do what you love to do.
So I'm Jess Cliff and I'm the Human Factors Group Leader in EDF's Nuclear Services business.
I'm Tunde Tijani and I'm on the Science and Engineering graduate scheme.
My name is Honey Bullard. I'm a Project Controls Apprentice at Hinkley Point C. So my current role covers pretty much all aspects of the nuclear life cycle. So my team supports the defuelling sites, which are going to be handed over to the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority in the coming years. We also support the operational sites, which include Sizewell B, which are going for a 20-year life extension at least till 2050. And also we're supporting the new build projects of Hinkley Point C and Sizewell C. I think I was most surprised by the number of different technical disciplines that are so key to the running of nuclear sites. I myself am from a physics background, so I was expecting everything to be very centred around physics. And I was really surprised when I got into the company at how many different aspects, even just within science and engineering, that there are that are so pivotal to the success of the sites. My role at HPC is expanding my skill set in ways that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Developing my knowledge in each project controls discipline by working with lots of different people and teams, as well as developing my knowledge in the construction industry and the nuclear industry. So nuclear power stations create energy by splitting atoms apart. That energy is then captured as heat, which is then used to boil some water from water into steam. That steam is then piped off to spin a turbine, which then is connected to a generator, which spins to produce electricity, which is then provided to the grid.
The importance of nuclear cannot be underestimated, most especially with us going towards net zero and low carbon emission now. Nuclear plays an important role.
HPC's main drive is helping Britain reach net zero, and I'm helping in the construction of that, which will help tackle climate change. I make sure that I take as many steps as possible to try and improve the health of the planet. It makes me feel good that I'm making changes in my personal life as well as helping construct something that will help the UK massively.
Nuclear is one of the ways through which Britain hopes to have net zero, so I feel so much valued that I'm contributing to an important cause, both now and for the future generation as well.
I chose this training programme because there are endless opportunities for me to do once I've finished the apprenticeship, and there are so many career paths that I could take that I wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Climate change is one of the biggest threats to people's lives and livelihoods around the globe, so I can't think of a much better cause to centre my career on.
The great thing about Generation is they always listen to you. If you have something to say, they're always there for you. Towards the end of the bootcamp, they will also help you to create a CV, they will connect you to employers and even to partner companies that will help you to apply for more companies.
Copper offers courses and apprenticeships in England and Wales, and we specialise in the active leisure industry. We offer level 2 courses such as gym instructing, indoor cycling, circuits, water-based exercise and kettlebells. If you sign up with us, you'll have a dedicated mentor who will guide you through your course and ensure that your learning is individualised and tailored to suit your needs.
The knowledge I've got from this course has made me more confident, and that I can pass that knowledge on to other members and stuff when I'm giving advice.
and just ultimately performing better in work.
I enjoy most about work-based learning. It's just more beneficial for myself. I'm learning whilst working as well, which is really beneficial, and it's a great way for learning.
I'd say it's definitely worth its value. I'm now doing classes, they're all full, they've got waiting lists, and all the members seem to be happy.
Apprenticeships can really help to increase confidence and experience in your chosen role. So if you need advice or guidance on which course or area of study would be beneficial for you, then give us a call or get in touch to find out more.
I'm learning new stuff and it's just great communication skills, English, maths, Welsh, and I think it'll help me find a job in the further future.
From this course I've gained vast knowledge on subjects that I didn't know before. I'm hoping it will help me with experience in the future.
It's helped me with money management, it's helped me interact more with children my age.
They are also breakfast club daily supplied to you, and we also support you with your transport.
So in order to get onto the Jobs Growth Wales programme itself, we've got a direct referral programme, so youngsters can basically click onto our QR code and obviously register that way. And then there is a programme where we offer youngsters basically that are already on the programme, if they want to refer a friend in. Careers Wales can also refer into the programme as well.
After this course I'm hoping to find a good job that I love doing, and then just help my family out however I can with money and just live a happy life, yeah.
So prior to my apprenticeship I studied computer science at university. But the learning style didn't really work for me, having to go in 5 times a week and not really being committed, so that didn't work out. My name is Matthew Rafferty, I'm a Wealth and Personal Banking degree apprentice, and I currently work in the financial support team as a financial support specialist. So my day-to-day job involves running the CAFLAN for the financial support team. This is for the call centres to make sure that we have enough supply and demand so that we don't have customers in need of financial support left waiting on hold. So I collate all of the information, put it together, and I hand that over to the department leads so that they can then make their decisions based off the needs for supply and demand. As I'm in my first year, we've just finished our first module, which was the financial markets and risk, which was really interesting, and now we're on to the fundamentals of management, which is another topic that I'm finding really interesting and maybe something that I look into for potential jobs in the future. Prior to my role, I did need skills in things such as Excel, Word, PowerPoint, but on the job I did find that I needed to do perhaps a bit more of my own research into Excel, as it does involve a lot of spreadsheets, but other than that, I didn't really need anything to start the apprenticeship. I think my favourite part of the apprenticeship so far has been all of the opportunities that I've been provided. You can take volunteering days where HSBC will pay you and the place that you go to do some charity work. At HSBC there is lots of support towards your growth and development. Personally, I have one-to-one meetings every month with my placement manager, as well as a talent coach who will provide me with the on-the-job learning part of the course, as well as my program manager who checks up on my apprenticeship and also my well-being. HSBC very much care about the employees' well-being, and it's very important to them to make sure that not only are you okay with your apprenticeship and your work side, but also your personal side, and making sure that if there's anything they can do to help, that the offer is there in support. I think to be someone that works at HSBC, you need to have a very strong work ethic, and you need to be able to be organised and adapt, because nobody's going to chase you on your work. You are expected to get your responsibilities done.
you think, had you not have played football, you would be as good as you are at your job?
You said she was good.
Yeah, how about I just do the pedals and you do the wheel?
Well, you need to let go of the pedals first.
Come on, that beat you. I'm going for a rest.
So can you just add a bit of oil into the pan and then I'll get the roasted vegetables out.
Well, I'm doing the naan bread. Oh, not naan bread, sorry, flat breads.
Oh my goodness!
Here we go. Mmm. Tasty.
I feel like I'm making a meal out of this deck. Did you get the joke?
Yes, I got it.
Why don't you laugh? Taste test.
There you go.
There you go. What is it that you do?
So if you couldn't tell already, I'm a chef.
Deck.
Yeah.
Got the beans.
I know. I just realised. They're already in.
Break time over, and now it's time to get back to it. We've still got loads left to share with you this evening, including a conversation with EDF and a panel discussion with the BMW Group, including representatives from BMW, Mini and Rolls-Royce. And don't forget, if you've missed out on any of our sessions today, you can watch this live stream back on demand whenever you want. And that goes for all our content. No subscription, no sign-ups, no fees. Just jump on over to our YouTube page and dive right in. But now, it's time to head on back to Canterbury and join Hope, who's about to kick off our next session with Bentley.
To your guide to apprentices, brought to you by Not Going to Uni. In this next section, I'll be handing over to Sophie from Bentley, who's going to be chatting all about Bentley careers. Over to you, Sophie.
Thank you so much and good evening everybody. Thank you so much for having us today. So really pleased to be able to spend some time with you today to talk about Bentley, our brand, our history, a bit about our future and also our early careers programmes and in particular the apprenticeship vacancies that have actually gone live today. So the session will cover a little bit about the programmes and then also you'll hear from some of our apprentices halfway through. So on the next slide please. You can see from the slide that we've got a long and really proud history of Bentley Motors. So we are a brand that is 105 years old in total, founded in 1919 by W.O. Bentley with a passion and a drive to make the best cars in the whole entire world. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So we have been in our home in Crewe since 1938, and we were acquired by the VW Group in 1998. And this was a real kind of pinnacle shift in our history, really. So it brought around us as a global brand. It allowed us to have synergies across the group, share technologies, and also share people and all of our experiences as well. In 2020, we launched our Beyond 100 strategy, and this is a blueprint for the next 100 years at Bentley. So really looking forward, embracing everything that's great about our past, but also looking ahead about what those next 100 years look like. The slide really shows our current model range at Bentley Motors. So this is what we're known for. These are our products that have inspired for the last 105 years. And we're really proud of our product range at the moment. It's probably the best product range that we've ever had at Bentley. We have our Continental GT, our Continental GT convertible, the Bentayga, the Flying Spur, and we've also got some hybrid versions of those as well. We've got our Mulliner department, which is our bespoke and special edition range. So all of our weird and wonderful customer requests that come in go through our Mulliner team, as well as our heritage fleet, alongside any special edition cars that come through as well. In recent years, we've had a few limited ranges of special edition Bentleys, such as the Bator and the Baclar, that have really honed in on the handcraftsmanship, as well as the innovative technology in our Bentleys and opening up a new area of the business. And I'm pleased to say that we've actually got an apprenticeship vacancy this year in our Mulliner team. On to the next slide, please. So our extraordinary brand, as I've mentioned, is part of the wider VW Group. And this has been since 1998. So there may be some brands on the slide that you're familiar with, such as VW and Audi, but maybe some that you're not so familiar with as well. I know when I joined, I was quite surprised about all of our sister brands across the VW Group. So being part of this global network and one of the biggest car manufacturers on the globe really allows us to share a lot of technology, a lot of innovation. It allows us to share expertise across the globe as well for everything that we need to do to drive our products forward. It also allows our apprentices and our trainees to really work with people across the globe as well. Some of our apprentices have actually spent some time in some of our sister brands, such as Porsche and Lamborghini as well. So on to the next slide, please. So this slide really just kind of shows you where we're going in terms of Bentley as a brand. So it's a really, really exciting time to join us. We have taken everything about our past, the hand craftsmanship, the combination of performance and luxury in the car sector, and really harness that to make sure that our next 100 years are as good as the last 100 for us. We're really going towards an electrification future. So our whole product range will be electric by 2030. We're also aiming to be carbon neutral fully by 2030 as well. So this is our Beyond 100 strategy that was launched in 2020. And as an apprentice or as a trainee in our organisation, you are absolutely core and absolutely fundamental to delivering that strategy as well. So it's a really, really exciting time to join. This has led to a lot of investment all in our people. So we need a lot of future skills to develop this strategy and to deliver it as well. It's allowed for innovation and investment in our campus in Crewe as well, which we'll go through in more detail in a minute. And it also means that we're having a lot of investment in our product portfolio as well. On to the next slide, please. So when we talk about sustainability at Bentley, it's really at the core of our strategy, and it's something that we take really, really seriously. So we are electrifying our full product range, but that's not only where we're kind of ending as well. We have a fully carbon neutral certified campus at Crewe, so that has been since 2019. We harvest all of our own rainwater, we have a zero landfill waste, and this is something that we're really proud of, but wanting to build on in the future as well. And when we talk about sustainability going forward, it's really about how we elevate that and take it to the next level. So we've got some really ambitious targets by 2030. This involves creating a circular economy through our supply chain, having real transparency in our supply chain as well. So sustainability at the heart of everything we do, kind of end to end, not just in our products. By sustainability as well, we're talking about our people. So we're talking a lot around our future skills that's needed in our organisation and making sure that we really take our people on our journey, and our trainees are part of that too. On to the next slide, please. So diversity at Bentley is something that we refer to as belonging at Bentley, and this is part of our core Beyond 100 strategy. So we've got an ethos that everyone, no matter what their background, what their race, ethnicity, beliefs, is welcome at Bentley. And we want the best people, regardless of any gender or race, to be part of that journey with us. So this is really what we call belonging at Bentley, making sure that we have an inclusive environment for everybody, that everybody is welcome, and that everyone can really shine at the organisation. And this is something that is really articulated from our leaders right from the top, and it is also driving our strategy as well. And one of the key things that we do to really bring this to life is have a number of colleague networks. So you can see the logos on the screen are our 5 colleague networks at the moment. These are created by colleagues, very much for colleagues across Bentley, and it's really to help us drive our inclusive culture across the organisation. We've got 5 networks in total, 1 around health and wellbeing, 1 around race and ethnicity, 1 around gender balance, 1 to support veterans, and then 1 for the LGBTQ+ communities at Bentley as well. Anyone can be part of these networks, anyone can form, either be a member or be an ally to these networks, and our colleagues are really helping us to shape our strategy going forward to make sure that everything we do at the organisation is inclusive, make sure that it takes everyone along with us. And this is something that our trainees at Bentley are very much involved in and are very passionate about as well. So on to the next slide, please. So apprenticeships at Bentley. So this is what we're here to talk to tonight around after a general introduction to the brand. So apprenticeships at Bentley are long-standing. We've got a really proud history of apprenticeships at Bentley with some of our apprentices joining many years ago and then now senior leaders in our organisation. So we have a real passion for developing our trainees across the organisation and developing them and very much see them as the future leaders. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to a video and you can hear from some of our Bentley apprentices themselves.
I'm Gerald. I currently work at Bentley Motors as a Digital Technology Solutions degree apprentice. An apprenticeship is a way to work full-time for an employer while studying for qualifications at the same time. I work 4 days in the office at Bentley and my 1 day outside the office is at Manchester Metropolitan University and I'm studying towards a Digital and Technology Solutions degree apprenticeship.
I'm Holly Proudfoot and I am an electrical test planning engineer. So it's an apprenticeship I started 8 years ago and it's a combination of electrical and mechanical rectification. So as part of that we did a BTEC in engineering and we did an IMI in motor vehicle repair and diagnostics. Doing that led me into becoming an automotive electrician at Bentley, so I was fixing and testing cars on our production line and then became a team leader in that area. So now I'm actually creating the tests that I was running when I was an apprentice. That's what an apprenticeship's about, you learn that whilst you're earning, and the thought of that kind of pulled me in as well.
I'm Zach and I'm a degree apprentice in the design manufacturing team. So what I do here is I get involved in the projects from 4 years in advance ahead of its production schedule. It is really fun to get involved in the servicing design team. You get to see aspects that not even everyone in the whole business gets to see. And it's a proud moment when you've worked on something 4 years ahead of its production to see it going down the line and then when it's finally launched. So I took the option of going to university where I did a course in design for engineering. So I did that for 1 year and then saw an opportunity to apply to Bentley Motors as a degree apprenticeship where I thought I can get 4 years learning, 4 years education, and then I can combine that together to hopefully get a job I would like.
I love cars. I've always had a passion for it since I was younger. Every time I come to the office, my office is quite far from the car park, so it gives me a 10-minute walk, and that 10-minute walk doesn't get boring at all. Just seeing all the new cars, the new specifications. So when I first started, I was new to the IT systems and everything, so I got that help and support from other apprentices, as well as my manager and also other key people in the business as well.
When I started, I was kind of 1 in 10 females, but ever since then, every year, there's been a new female mechatronic apprentice, and you see more and more around the production areas, in manufacturing, everywhere from mech to electrical testing, electrical engineering, so many more females that you see, and progressing through the business, which is amazing. And we're also doing a lot of outreach to encourage young aspiring females to join Bentley, which is something I'm really passionate about. So Girls into Bentley is an event where we have primary school children, females that are interested in STEM subjects. They come and spend the day at Bentley and learn a bit more about manufacturing and engineering roles. So one of the young females that attended the event that I ran 7 years ago actually applied for an apprenticeship and is now working in engineering. It's incredible. You feel like you've really made a difference.
The lovely thing about working at Bentley is it's not a huge work environment where you feel like you can get lost. It has a very nice, close family feel where, you really feel part of a team and part of the organisation, and you're allowed to express yourself, be who you are without anyone judging that. My managers have always been really supportive from the start, and they put a lot of trust into you, and they'll give you the time to make you succeed and help you balance between your work and uni life. I think every apprentice is seen as a future young leader. You may be scared of the trust or the responsibility, but it's really an opportunity to demonstrate what you're good at and what you're capable of.
Best thing about being a Bentley apprentice is just meeting new people in my day-to-day job role, the opportunities I have, especially visiting Germany, and that was less than a year into my apprenticeship. To be able to have those opportunities right from the start is something that everyone should take hold of, really.
Say yes to every opportunity. Bentley can open so many doors for you and help you build that career.
Before we even started apprenticeship, I was quite stressed about how would I cope in terms of doing the university and work. But now I tell myself to just relax.
All you have to do is just be yourself, follow your passions, do what you want and do what you love to do.
So hopefully that brought to life a little bit more about the reality of an apprenticeship at Bentley. And something that we really wanted to address as part of this talk really is to say that we very much recruit our trainees and our apprentices based on their potential. So we know that somebody won't be the full polished finished article when they join us, especially as an apprentice, but it's really having the best drive, that ambition and the right values and the behaviours that we can then give you all the technical knowledge and skills that you need to really thrive with us. And in terms of those values that we look for, we have 5 key values at Bentley that we recruit against and we also assess performance against. This is for all of our colleagues, so right from the CEO, right down to all of our trainees, and these are across everything that we do. If you can show these in an application, and this is a hint, it will set you up for success, especially with part of our interview process as well. So we talk about authenticity, about integrity, collaboration, sustainability and innovation as well. And we'd really like to see applications that can show us a bit of a spark about one of those and show a bit of interest in some of these areas as well. As discussed in the video really, in terms of people that really want to kind of thrive, work together as a team and really innovate and push the boundaries with us at Bentley Motors. On to the next slide, please. And in return, if you do join us as an apprentice or as a trainee, there's quite a large benefits package that comes along with that. So obviously as an apprentice, you will be studying towards an external qualification, and we work with a network of world-class training providers on our apprenticeship standards. So universities such as the University of Warwick, also really specialist independent training providers that provide some of our heritage technician skills as well. So you'll not only have the support of a training provider, but everyone at the Bentley team as well. There is a dedicated early careers team, so me and my team are solely there to look after all of our trainees throughout their programmes. So that's right from the beginning all the way to the end when they transition to be a permanent colleague with us. And this comes along with a lot of intervention, a lot of development throughout the programme. So we have a number of interventions that we deliver for our apprentices. We have a really robust induction into the business when everyone joins in September, just to make sure that everybody is comfortable and confident starting. We then have a lot of hands-on experience, so production placements. So regardless of whatever team an apprentice joins in, they will have the opportunity to work on a process and to work on our cars and learn a bit more about them as well. You'll have a development plan and development programme throughout your time with us as an apprentice. And this is really to think about the knowledge, the skills and the behaviours you'll need to succeed at Bentley. We then have a number of sprints and masterclasses as well, so going into really pertinent areas of the business that will be really helpful for all of our apprentices to know about. So really key skills such as project management that we equip everybody with at the start of their apprenticeship so they can really use those skills throughout their time with us. So as well as the early careers team, you'll also have a manager and a mentor in your home department as well. And these will really work with you day to day, integrate you into the team at Bentley and make sure that you are supported throughout your time with us. And as I said, we've got a long history of apprentices at Bentley, so everyone is very much used to having an apprentice or a trainee in the team. Many colleagues joined through that pathway as well, so you'll have the support of all colleagues across the organisation. Something that we're really keen and really passionate about as well is harnessing our colleague voice, so listening to our trainees, taking feedback on what they think about the programme and making improvements about it going forward as well. So we hold regular surveys with our trainees. We have an early careers committee which is made up of trainees for trainees. So they tell us about the programme, about any feedback, anything we can improve on, and we're continuously making that better and driving improvements for our apprentices as well. And our apprenticeships are all based in Crewe, so we are a single site location. So everything from the design of a Bentley, the engineering of it, manufacturing, sales, marketing, all sits in our home in Crewe as well. So a really big, a really bustling and busy campus. But it means that if you have a meeting with somebody, you can meet them face to face and you don't need to. You haven't got geography as a bit of a barrier for that. And our Crewe campus is something that we're really proud of as well. So we have an on-site gym. We have free parking, which is good because it takes about 15 minutes to walk from one side of site to the other. And it also has subsidised canteen and coffee shops as well. So it's a really great environment for our trainees to learn and to work as well. And in terms of rewards and recognition, we really like to make sure that the colleague experience at Bentley is really something to be proud of and for people to recommend to their family and friends as well. We have been a top employer for the last 12 years. That's testament to how we benchmark our people processes to make sure that all of our colleagues are looked after throughout their colleague journey with us. And we make sure that everybody has hands-on experience with our product as well. So we have product drive events. Some of our apprentices hold their own Bentley driving licence, so they do get to drive the products themselves. Some of our apprentices in engineering even go to test our cars in foreign countries as well, so really exciting. So on to the next slide, please. So in terms of apprenticeships at Bentley, there's a few things that we wanted to really let you know about this afternoon. So the first is that we have a range of opportunities available this year and every year that we have an intake. We'll go through in more detail on the next slide, but our opportunities range from 2 to 4 years, from level 2 to level 6, so intermediate through to degree apprenticeships in a wide range of skills. All of them will have some common themes running throughout those. So you'll all have the support from an early careers team, you'll all have mentors and managers in your home department, world-class training providers, as I've mentioned, and it's also working alongside experts in the field as well. So you're very much part of the core team as an apprentice at Bentley. On to the next slide. So in terms of the roles that are currently live on the Bentley Careers website, here are the different apprenticeship areas that we are recruiting for this year. In terms of level 2, so that intermediate apprenticeship opportunities, we have lean manufacturing operatives and sewing machinists as well. At level 3, we have a number of engineering technicians. We've also got a heritage technician that is working in our Mulliner team. So really special area of the business. That's where all of our customer bespoke requests come in, the special edition cars. Our heritage fleet is looked after by a Mulliner team as well. So very, very specialised, very bespoke. Top secret area of the Crewe campus that not everyone is let into as well. So a really exciting area to join. We also have a level 4 apprenticeship in maintenance as well. So that is very much kind of supporting the factory. Oh, just going to the previous slide. And we have a number of degree apprenticeships as well. So some of these apprenticeship standards will have a number of roles that we're hiring into in these because they're quite broad skill set areas that we need as an organisation, such as data and project management. So it might be that we have a number of roles for these apprenticeship standards. So it could be, for example, for digital technology solutions, you're looking at data in the manufacturing team, or it could be that you sit in our IT team. As I said, we have apprentices cross-functionally across the whole organisation. So in each individual advert, it will say what team that apprenticeship vacancy is in and what the role will be about as well. We also let people know what training provider they will be going to and what the delivery method is, because that's really important to understand how you will receive that training from that external training provider. We've got various different opportunities, there's 38 in total, but we do have a short advertising window, so it's worth noting that all vacancies are live on the website now, but they will be closing on Sunday the 18th of February. So definitely encourage an application sooner rather than later. And if you go on to the next slide, please. This just shows you our recruitment process. So at Bentley, we have quite a human-centric, kind of quite a nice and friendly recruitment process for our trainees. And this is the same whether you join us as an apprentice or as a graduate as well. The first initial stage is a CV and a cover letter. So that is your opportunity to tell us all about yourself, all about your qualities and your skills and your behaviours as well. And really kind of tell us why you want to work with us. That is the only bit of the application that we kind of use to then sift and shortlist. So that CV and cover letter is absolutely essential to make sure that we know everything about you. So first top tip, absolutely send us a cover letter. If you don't, unfortunately, we won't be progressing with the application, so you need both. The second stage of the application process is that everyone at the talent acquisition team will sift through all of those applications. So they will read every single CV, every single cover letter, get a feel for that candidate and assess it against the role. So the manager will have given us a lot of information about that role, what type of person they're looking for, and they'll match strong candidates and they'll pass that shortlist to a manager. The manager will then select 3 to 5 people for an interview. All of our interviews are held over MS Teams, so it's completely virtual. So that's worth noting in terms of being able to practice for that. And it's around about 90 minutes long. And there's 2 elements of that interview. The first will be a number of questions based on our Bentley behaviours and values, so it's worth looking at those on our website. And then it's also a bit of a preset brief, so it might be a scenario that we give you, and we just want for you to talk through how you'd approach that, just so we can see what kind of behaviours and experience you can pull from as well. And after that, it's straight through to offer. So no awful psychometric testing, quite a nice process. After that interview, we would be offering, and we're likely to be making all of our offers by the end of April this year. After that, you'll receive your contract all online, and then you'll then receive a note from our early careers team to say, welcome to Bentley, and we'll start what's called our onboarding process. So we know that there's quite a bit of time between you accepting the offer with us and then joining at the beginning of September. So we send a lot of information during that time just to make all of our apprentices comfortable before they start, that all of their questions have been answered. We'll also have a welcome event as well. So we invite all of our apprentices and a parent or guardian to site. It might be that the first time that they've ever visited us in Crewe as well. So a nice opportunity to answer any questions that they've got before joining, just to make sure on day one, really confident and really comfortable. And on to the next slide, please. So in terms of a strong application, it's worth noting that our apprenticeship vacancies are open to anybody. So school and college leavers, absolutely, but anyone that's looking for a career change as well is definitely welcome to apply. And what we're looking for is a few different things, really. We want people that are resilient and can adapt to change. Business has never been more kind of fluctuant in terms of the challenges that we face. So after Brexit was COVID, and there'll always be challenges over the horizon. So someone that is resilient will work really well in our organisation. We want people that will help us drive that inclusive culture that we spoke about as well. So people that are open-minded, people that share feedback and their ideas. We want to hear from all of our apprentices and all of our trainees. So someone that isn't afraid to kind of speak up and share their thoughts is really welcome. And we also want people that can work really effectively as a team member too. And on to the next slide, please. So in terms of the application, in terms of a strong application for Bentley, as I said, it's a CV and a cover letter, and that is your opportunity to tell us everything that we need to know about you and what you can bring to the team. So we always say, think outside the box. It doesn't have to be that you have the absolute best grades to join us. It doesn't mean that you have to have a wealth of work experience. As I said, that we know that people won't be the final kind of professional, polished article when they join us, but we're looking for real potential. Think about the skills that you can bring to us and some of the experiences that you have. So that doesn't necessarily have to be from work experience. It could be from a hobby that you have or a part-time job. If you're a young carer, that brings a wealth of the skills and knowledge that you can bring to the role as well. Think about really what you've got to offer us as a team and draw on all of the experiences that you've had. We always say that we want people to find their forte and think about their unique selling point. Absolutely everybody will have something that they can bring to Bentley. Think about what that is and really articulate that. So in your CV and cover letter, draw out those experiences, tell us about yourself and tell us what you can bring to the team. We always say be realistic as well. So the manager, if you do get to the interview stage, will probably have your CV printed out, so don't put anything on there that you can't back up with evidence as well. And on to the next slide, please. So that's it from me in terms of the presentation. As I said, our vacancies are live currently on the website and they will be live until the 18th of February. We welcome applications over the next few weeks and we really look forward to hearing from everybody. And definitely mention if you've engaged with this session in your cover letter, because it shows that you have a bit of a passion for the brand. You've engaged with us as well, so it'd be really good to include that in your cover letter. You can follow us on socials over the next few weeks and find out more from our apprentices. And also on our careers website, there's an FAQ document, which gives a lot more information about the programme, as well as a candidate pack as well. So definitely go to bentleycareers.com. And just to finish up the session, I think we have a short video to play as well.
Do you want to make a difference in a sustainable carbon neutral world? Harnessing the power of green energy, innovating next generation technologies, and visualizing what lies ahead. Do you want to make a difference by anticipating change on the horizon and brave new opportunities to embrace, facing challenges with endeavor in a culture that celebrates individuality? Do you want to make a difference, building on a century of motoring heritage to craft the future of global luxury, becoming the leader in advanced mobility and driving the next 100 years of our journey? Be the difference. Make it at Bentley Motors.
Hopefully, that session gave you all the information you need to kickstart your career with Bentley. But if it didn't, and you still need to know more, make sure you head on over to the Not Going to Uni website, www.notgoingtouni.co.uk, for more. Did you know? University isn't the only route to a degree. Level 6 and Level 7 apprenticeships are paid apprenticeships where you work for a company, train with them, and attend university a few times a week or month, and at the end of it, you get a degree, right? Up next, we're joined on stage by Josh at EDF to talk about his career journey at EDF and what a career at EDF might look like to you.
So I'm Jess Cliff and I'm the Human Factors Group Leader in EDF's Nuclear Services business.
I'm Sunday Tijani and I'm on this Science and Engineering graduate scheme.
My name is Honey Bullard. I'm a Project Controls Apprentice at Hinkley Police. So my current role covers pretty much all aspects of the nuclear life cycle. So my team supports the defueling sites, which are going to be handed over to the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority in the coming years. We also support the operational sites, which include Sizewell B, which are going for a 20-year life extension at least till 2050, and also we're supporting the new build projects of Hinkley Point C and Sizewell C. I think I was most surprised by the number of different technical disciplines that are so key to the running of nuclear sites. I myself am from a physics background, so I was expecting everything to be very, very centred around physics. And I was really surprised when I got into the company at how many different aspects, even just within science and engineering, that there are that are so pivotal to the success of the sites.
My role at HPC is expanding my skill set in ways that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Developing my knowledge in each project controls discipline by working with lots of different people and teams, as well as developing my knowledge in the construction industry and the nuclear industry.
So nuclear power stations create energy by splitting atoms apart. That energy is then captured as heat, which is then used to boil some water from water into steam. That steam is then piped off to spin a turbine, which then is connected to a generator, which spins to produce electricity, which is then provided to the grid.
The importance of nuclear cannot be underestimated, most especially with us going towards net zero and low carbon emission. Now, nuclear plays an important role.
HPC's main drive is helping Britain reach net zero, and I'm helping in the construction of that, which will help tackle climate change. I make sure that I take as many steps as possible to try and improve the health of the planet. It makes me feel good that I'm making changes in my personal life as well as helping construct something that will help the UK massively.
Nuclear is one of the ways through which Britain hopes to have net zero. So I feel so much value that I'm contributing to an important cause, both now and for the future generation as well.
I chose this training program because there are endless opportunities for me to do once I've finished the apprenticeship, and there are so many career paths that I could take that I wouldn't be able to find anywhere else.
Climate change is one of the biggest threats to people's lives and livelihoods around the globe, so I can't think of a much better cause to enter my career on.
Good evening and welcome back to your guide to apprenticeships. I'm now joined by Josh from EDF. Josh, lovely to have you here with us. Talk to me first and foremost, what is your role at EDF?
So I work at Sizewell C in their digital reporting team. I work mostly using a software called Power BI to develop reports from the data we collect from all of our different programs on the project. So that's collecting cost data and schedule data is mostly what I work with, and producing interactive reports that allow project managers and higher ups like the directors of the company to view this information in a much easier way to the appropriate audience.
Oh, fantastic. So EDF, I've heard of it, I'm sure a lot of the audience have, but what is EDF if someone doesn't know?
So EDF is an energy company, so EDF Energy, and they are currently developing a few reactors around the UK, so nuclear reactors being developed in Hinkley, so that's in the Somerset area, as well as at Sizewell, which is in the Suffolk area. And I was lucky enough to work on both of them at the moment. EDF also has a few other projects around. So they work with a lot of decommissioning works on old reactors, as well as some of the other energy generation like wind and coal.
So what first led you to think, oh yes, EDF is a company I want to work for?
So I've lived in Suffolk my whole life, and my dad and my granddad have both worked at Sizewell B when it was first constructed, and with it being on my doorstep, only half an hour away from me, it was a perfect opportunity to go down there with my granddad and have a look around. They were offering tours, they had a visitor centre so you could go and ask questions. So I went down there during my time at college and had a look around, and it was just such a cool place to be, and it was amazing that people had built it.
When you hear energy company, you might think of someone who goes out and checks people's wiring or put new things in place. But actually, with a big company like that, there are a huge amount of varying roles, aren't there?
Yes, so I work in a mostly office-based job, so I work on a computer in an office. But with EDF, if just specifically at, for example, Sizewell C, there is catering roles, there's transport roles, there's roles working actually on site for the construction, there's manufacturing of all of the equipment that we're going to be putting into the reactor area. So there's many different roles, and there's you can't really, when you think about it, you don't know all of them. So yeah, it's definitely more than you'd expect from just the surface level.
It's of course Apprenticeship Week. This is your guide to apprenticeships. You were an apprentice, weren't you?
Yes, so in 2019 I applied to EDF Energy for an apprenticeship at Sizewell C. They had an online form that I filled in, and I filled it in with all of my information from college, because I went onto this apprenticeship through college, and I got a job, but they said that the apprenticeships were currently a bit slow at Sizewell C because it was still in its planning period, so there was a lot of things that still had to go through before anything actually started on it. So they offered me a placement at Hinkley Point C, which is the Sizewell sister reactor in Somerset. So I moved across there, and for 3 years I did a project controls apprenticeship, graduating in 2022 September, and now I've moved back to Suffolk to work on Sizewell C as a project controls technician in digital reporting.
Suffolk and Somerset, quite far apart from each other.
Very far apart.
And you mentioned the fact that in Suffolk, that location was only half an hour away, and that's what appealed to you. It was the kind of location. Mm-hmm. So was there any kind of reluctancy from you to think, oh, I've got to move all the way to Somerset?
I really like the idea of combining my passions of engineering and game development together and using computers. So I was happy to move wherever life would take me, and it just so happened that I could move across the country to the west coast from the east coast and continue working at a live construction project while being able to use those skills. And I thought that it would be an amazing opportunity. It may not be on my doorstep, but I may as well take a big step and get out there, get a bit of independence, and experience some new stuff.
What support was offered when that moving process happened? Were there kind of help with relocation costs? Was there any kind of social networks that you could tap into, or were you on your own?
So because we not just working on a site, we're also doing learning. So while we were over on the west coast, there were opportunities for some of the apprentices to stay on site. So not site as in the construction area, but site as in the place we were studying, which was the National College of Nuclear. And that meant that even people who didn't live close by, so we had a few people up from Manchester and Liverpool as well, they could come down and stay on campus at the college and get up and attend lessons in person and go down to site without too much of an issue, because they were obviously in the right place, and then they could go home at weekends or during holidays, and that would allow them to have that diversity of working in the actual construction project and also back home in their areas.
How much studying did you do?
So the studying was done in blocks. So we would do 4-5 weeks at college, which was what we started off with, where we would learn the fundamentals of project controls. So we'd learn all of the theory, we would work together as a cohort to do different scenarios. So we'd look at schedule, for instance, and piece together a timeline of here's the start of constructing a house, here's the finish of constructing a house. And then going on to the actual project, you could, after that learning period, you could put that straight into action. So you could look at, for example, some of the water tanks that are being installed and see the start and the end of that and use the knowledge from that house building scenario you did and put that into action.
That's brilliant because, I mean, I didn't go to university, so I haven't got a degree. But thinking back to school, you would learn so much stuff that you would never actually apply to a real life situation that you're put in. Whereas what you've described there is actual knowledge, then in action, and you can see the kind of the process itself.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to be able to do that because I didn't go straight from high school, I went straight into college and then into an apprenticeship. So I had a bunch of knowledge that I couldn't use anywhere yet because I needed to find a job. And with an apprenticeship, it, like you say, you can just learn something and then immediately see, oh, that's how that would actually work.
What did you study at college?
So, as I mentioned a little bit ago, I have a passion for game development.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
So I'm loved computers from a young age. I loved the details in engineering and like how you can see something from start to finish, from conception to actually built. So in college I studied engineering and game development and also a bit of mathematics. And being able to combine them all together at EDF was a dream come true. Just being able to use basically 3D model on computers while looking out the window and seeing, oh, that thing I 3D modeled, it's just there, was such a dream.
That's really cool. In terms of the gaming side of things, I'm assuming you also like gaming in your spare time?
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely.
Did that help you with your application process to kind of say, hey, look, I have a hobby that I've now developed into a skill. I've educated myself on it. Did that help you stand apart, do you think?
I definitely think so, yeah. So you learn a lot of skills from playing games, funnily enough. So one of them was 3D modelling. So I 3D modelled at home, and then at college, and then I could do it on an actual project. So I went from basic YouTube tutorials at home to a curriculum of learning how to do it like a pro and then putting that into test at the actual job.
Talk to me about the assessment centre. How was that process for anyone who's thinking, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, but what do I have to do?
So when I applied for the apprenticeship, it was pre-COVID times, so everything was done in person. But I know now there's a lot of online applications and through Teams. But my experience was going to Bristol to the assessment centre. So we did an initial online form that they asked you a few questions like how would you lead in a situation? Are there any struggles that you've had to overcome? And then after that stage, you got to the assessment centre. And the assessment centre based in Bristol, they did a interview stage where they'd ask you questions about EDF Energy as a company and what you'd like to do there and skills you have outside. And then they would also put you in group exercises. So we would build a bridge as a team of 5 and we'd all be in an interview room and they'd watch us work together and try and build the highest tower or the stablest bridge, that was pretty fun. And you get to meet a few good friends before you even get onto the apprenticeship.
What advice would you give someone in that situation? Because in a group interview scenario, it can be quite difficult to get the balance right, can't it? You don't want to be too loud and overpowering, but you also don't want to be assertive, not assertive at all, and be like a quiet little mouse. So what would you say?
I definitely think you need to focus on the communication. So you don't just want to say, you don't just want to listen. You want to listen and respond. So if someone suggests an idea, jump in on that idea, help them achieve it. If you come up with an idea, you hope that others will do the same and they're also listening. So that's definitely the way to go.
Anything else in terms of how to stand out on your CV or your application?
So soft skills are the best skills to learn. So during college, I did a lot of things outside of college, like NCS, and also doing internships through the college. And that allowed me to build up a bit of workplace knowledge, as well as learn a few skills. Like with NCS, it was team building, it was leading, it was learning different survival situations as well, health and safety. All very good things to just have knowledge of, which then can carry forwards into interview questions.
You mentioned that even in the interview process, you were able to make friends with people, which is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people often think that with an apprenticeship, you won't get those social circles that you would at university. Is that the case?
Not at all. So EDF works with a lot of partner companies. One of them was Cavendish Nuclear. And I'd met a really good friend of mine still now on this course. So we were different companies. He was Cavendish, I was EDF. But we worked together at the college, we worked separately at work, but we became really good friends outside of all of that as well. So we regularly get online and play games together now still.
I was going to say that. You do game with them, don't you?
Definitely.
And what about EDF as a company, as a business? Why are they good to work for? What values do they have?
So EDF as a company has so many different places to work, as mentioned before, about the decommissioning and the construction of projects. So you can go anywhere that EDF has a project. If you speak to your line manager, then they can get you transferred and you can go anywhere with an EDF. And they always have, what I love about it is their questioning attitude, which is if you see something, you can bring it up with the person and say, like, for example, we have a lot of safety within the company. Safety is EDF's overriding priority. So when you see someone going up and down the stairs, holding coffees, looking at their phones, you are taught to question that behaviour, ask them if they should be holding the handrail, not being on their phone going up and down the stairs, and you're also, within the culture, asked to accept the questioning yourself. So if you ever get questioned on it, you need to make sure that you're not going to get angry and snap back at them, but accept that questioning and correct your behaviour.
Does that always work?
It does. So when I worked at Hinckley, you could see a manager walking up the stairs and on their phone, and if you stop them and say, "Hi, just remember we're not allowed to be on our phones on the stairs," they'll go, "Yes, sorry, very sorry," and put their phone away without a question, which was an amazing culture to have within EDF.
That's quite refreshing. I haven't actually heard that about any other company. It's kind of empowering everyone in a certain way, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone has their own voice, and it's always heard.
So in terms of your career then, where do you want to go?
So I got a taste of this while going around my initial apprenticeship. It was putting something called 4D design, which is looking at a project and creating 3D models of everything that's going to be constructed there, and then attaching an element of time to it. So you can then use logic to decide, okay, we need to get this piece of equipment in this building. Are we going to not build this wall yet, so then we can build the other 3 walls, get the equipment in, build the last wall, and thinking about how, like, the logic behind how something is going to be constructed, instead of it just going, that's a building, that'll get built. You actually see the details, and this needs to go first before we can do this, and then we can do this. That is something that when Sizewell gets to the point of construction, I would love to get into and hopefully lead.
And does EDF support progression? Are the managers definitely kind of pushing you in order to kind of grow as a person and as a colleague?
Yeah, so they have a lot of schemes to get you learning. So we have access to LinkedIn Learning, as well as some of the other softwares on the project. We can go forward to our line managers and ask, I have an interest in this, would I be able to get either a license to use this program or some training within EDF to get better at it and learn it and then go into it as a future career. So I have learned many a program at Sizewell already, as well at HPC.
Reversing back or rewinding back to your time as an apprentice, what was the most challenging thing that you faced?
I think the brand new environment of an office. I'd never worked in an office before. I'd come out of college only having worked in like a warehouse before. So I didn't know what the etiquette of being in an office is, what to wear, what's the do's and don'ts, but that was supported by the rest of the cohort, because you weren't in the boat alone. You had a lot of new starters of varying different ages that were all in a similar boat, never being in an office before, and you could learn together, ask each other questions. Everyone in the office as well who'd already been working there was very open to being asked questions, and you could approach anyone and ask, hey, I have a question on this, and they'll be happy to answer, and if they can't, they'll point you in the direction of someone who can.
And what was your favourite thing about being an apprentice?
I think definitely going into the London offices. So I live in the countryside, I live in Suffolk. Being able to go into the London offices and the Bristol offices and meeting so many people and just being able to, like I said, ask them questions. It's such a different experience for me, having worked in mostly villages, and just, yeah, meeting so many different people. Like, I've met so many contractors on the project. I've met so many great people who I'm still in contact now, even after they've left the project.
And as someone who, I know that you love working at EDF, but as someone who's done an apprenticeship for them, do you kind of feel like you're tied to them forever? Or do they make it clear that although you've trained with us, we understand?
No, definitely. I can go to anywhere else. They're not controlling and keeping me here. I will, if I want to. I've got loads of contacts that I've made already. So I've made a lot of connections with people in EY, who are an external contractor. So they work all over the world. So with that contact, I can approach my line manager and someone from EY and try and improve that connection and then transfer over. They are very happy to let you go, but they will be very sad.
Talk to me about the workload when you were doing the apprenticeship. Obviously, you mentioned that 4 to 5 weeks that you spent studying, didn't you? But when you actually were starting the process of being in the office, how did you manage the work that you had to do outside?
So we had 3 years to complete our apprenticeship, and the first thing we did on it was learning. So we went to college, and that was just, here's some of the stuff you need to know, getting to know it, doing different scenarios at the college, and then after that, you wouldn't get given a full-on job straight away with full responsibility. You would work with the different functions, different programs that you'd go around, and they would set you similar scenarios to what you've learned in college. And then as you progress through your first year, that is when you start doing a lot more of the tests and assignments. And speaking to your line manager, they're always happy to let you put a day aside. So still in the office, but maybe working on some of your assignments, working on some of your research and for the questions that are coming up in exams. So they are happy to let you learn, but they will also support you by setting you those scenarios that are work related.
That's brilliant. And it also gives you the variety as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you're not pulling your hair out, stressed out that you've got to do loads of homework when you get home.
But it's not just, obviously, small scenarios. As you improve and get better in your second half of your second year and your third year, you start to gain a bit more responsibility. So they'll start giving you projects that you own and you work through and develop with a team, instead of just giving you fake scenarios that don't 100% contribute to the company but are helping with your learning. So then you make that switch slowly, so it's not just a massive weight on you, it's a slow, steady increase of work.
Yeah, not a huge shock to the system. No one likes that. So I've got quite a long question here, so I'm going to read it off word for word. So would you say that gaining an apprenticeship is a help with relocation than any... I can't even read this question. So would you say that gaining an apprenticeship has helped with the relocation rather than if you were using a social network that you could happen... Okay, I don't really understand the question because it's not really making sense. But okay, what I'm trying to ask you is, Did it help relocating by doing the apprenticeship rather than just relocating for a job?
I think you get that support when you're with an apprenticeship. With a job, they might just expect you to be in the area, expect you to travel, but with EDF, they do offer you some of those, some ability to work with them to get housing, to get a place at the college, to work on site. They have a bunch of accommodation on site as well. So they have that support underneath you to help you, while you may be looking for housing elsewhere as well.
Were you nervous before you started your apprenticeship?
Yes, definitely. It's like, once again, something you'd never do before. When some people, this is their first job they have, this is the first time they're leaving their parents' house and going into an actual career. So I was definitely nervous, but being in a cohort of people who are in a similar boat to you, once again, is much so comforting, just to know that you can bounce questions off of each other and support each other, as well as EDF offered us contacts from previous cohorts. So we were in contact with the cohort before us.
Oh, brilliant, like a mentorship.
Like a mentorship, yeah. So after our first year, we got some new apprentices that we could take under our wing, and they could ask us questions that they may not feel comfortable asking some of the other support networks, like the Early Careers Centre or their line managers. They can come to us like little questions like, oh, how did you learn this part in the learning module?
Well, Josh, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights. Where can anyone go to find out more about EDF apprenticeships?
So if you want an EDF apprenticeship, there's a site called careers@edf.com, I believe. But just searching careers at EDF into Google will point you in the right direction.
Josh, thank you so much. That was Josh from EDF. Next up, we have a panel of apprentices from BMW. Thank you, Josh.
There's plenty more information about EDF and their apprenticeship opportunities available on our website www.notgoingtouni.co.uk. If you're a young person looking for your first step on the career ladder, remember that apprenticeships aren't the only route you can explore. There's too many options to explore before the start of the next session, but check out our clearing live stream available on our YouTube channel to hear from members of a whole load of employers talking about other career routes that don't require you to go to uni or get an apprenticeship. Up next is our final session of the evening. Hope is going to be joined by a host of BMW Group apprentices from all corners of the BMW Group: Mini, Rolls-Royce and BMW. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, where we're now joined by quite a large panel, all from the BMW Group. So before we get started, can we just go down the row, introduce yourself and say the role that you're currently doing?
Absolutely. So, hello, my name's Ben. I do a level 6 degree apprenticeship in PR, communications and marketing.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm in my second year of my technical assembly apprenticeship, level 2 at Rolls-Royce, and I work in production.
Hi, I'm Bethan and I'm doing a level 6 chartered business and management degree, and I currently work in BMW product.
Hi everyone, I'm Freddie. I'm doing a level 3 AAT apprenticeship and I work in the treasury for BMW Financial Services.
Wow, quite a mixture that we've got here. So Freddie, whilst you've got the mic, I do apologise if you didn't want to answer the first question, but what is the BMW Group? What's it made up of?
So within the BMW Group we have our financial services that I work in, and then we have BMW, NSC, and then we have Mini, and then obviously Charlie from Rolls-Royce.
Fantastic. So I imagine there are a lot of opportunities throughout the group. So let's start by hearing about how you chose your apprenticeship. Was that always the route you wanted to go down, Freddie?
So yeah, so last year I was studying towards 3 A levels, but I thought I wanted to do an apprenticeship. I wasn't really too keen on the university route, so I didn't actually apply through UCAS. I just fully put everything into apprenticeships, applied for multiple, and then eventually got the breakthrough with BMW.
Was that the one you really wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bethford, what about your journey? Why an apprenticeship?
I originally wanted to go to university, and whilst I was studying at college for my 3 A levels, I really got into my part-time job, and whilst I was there, I also did a 3-day work placement at their head office, and I then realised that an office environment really suited me, and I like to be under pressure, not having a lot of time studying and doing work, so I started looking at multiple different degree apprenticeships. So I still got the degree, but I also got all the work experience as well.
What was the part-time job out of interest?
I was a kitchen and bathroom designer at B&Q.
Oh, wow. Okay, but doing that led you to doing the apprenticeship. That's really interesting. What about the apprenticeship in terms of the workload matched up with that?
For me, it was gaining my degree and also getting practical work experience, so able to apply degree knowledge that I was learning to a work placement throughout like day-to-day life.
Charlie, coming over to you. You chose an apprenticeship at Rolls-Royce.
I did.
Why?
So I came straight out of school. Wasn't really too interested in going into full-time education again. So I started exploring my choices, put a few applications out. Rolls-Royce was my #1 choice, and I was successful, luckily enough.
So you're in your second year?
I am, yeah.
How many years will you be doing?
So I'm set to do 2 years right now, but there's always the opportunity to extend onto higher qualifications.
Where do you see your career going?
It's a hard question.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoy working in production, sort of quality, waste management type of stuff. Yeah, I think I want to go down the production route.
And finally, Ben, why did you choose an apprenticeship?
Well, I was dead set on going to university, and then it never really clicked with me, really. I kind of was not fully committed. I sort of had doubts, and then I kind of explored the apprenticeship route of my own. And you know, I have a massive love of cars, so I naturally went to the automotive industry, and BMW just shone out to me. The apprenticeship that I'm doing, it really kind of hit all the marks that I wanted to investigate and wanted to learn about. And yeah, that was really it. It was all about sort of passion and wanting to do something that I really felt, you know, enjoyment from. And I think university I would have absolutely loved, of course, but I think that at the end I would have maybe second guessed, whereas now I'm fully committed to this and you know, loving every second of it.
How does it work in terms of your workload then? Do you go to university 1 day a week or a college, or are you just studying in your own time and then work at BMW?
So it's 1 day a week at college. So it's a degree in business and management. So my A-levels did not reflect that at all. I didn't do business or economics. I did drama, history and English. So quite a big jump for me, but actually it's been a really good learning experience. You know, completely thrown in at the deep end at something that I had no real experience with before. And in terms of managing workload, I think that, you know, in the beginning, obviously it's a struggle because you've gone from, you know, of course, I was the year we had COVID as well, so that kind of threw things off a bit as well. But I think that managing that really has been something that you really get to work on. You get lots of opportunities to work on people in the team, you know, line managers, to really understand that, you know, you are doing a degree as well as working, and they give you the relevant time and necessary time to be able to do that. There's a lot of kind of management in your time, which is nice. You know, you don't feel like you're on your own. You feel a lot more kind of a commitment to your study as well.
Other than loving cars, what else appealed to you? What else about the BMW Group appealed to you?
I think that the fact that, you know, BMW Group is such a key player, and it's so the brands are so recognisable in, you know, not only the automotive industry but in, you know, brand worldwide. It just seemed like the coolest thing to work for something that, you know, I've got quite a personal connection to. My love of cars comes from racing, and family members have raced BMWs, things like that. You know, to me that's more than cars. It's more about a passion and an understanding of how big the brand is. It makes you curious, really, because you see it from the outside, but you kind of want to work on it from the inside, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that was kind of the pull of the brand, obviously, but also the fact that the automotive sector in general has such an important part to play in the years coming up for society, for economics, for the environment, and that's something that's really interesting to be a part of and to kind of be a part of that history.
I can feel your passion coming right off you.
Oh, good, I'm doing something right then.
Charlie, passing the mic to you. What was the application process for you? What was it like?
So I applied whilst I was still in school with the help of my careers team at school. I sent a CV in, and then I was offered, I then had to answer some video questions online. Then I was sent through some tests to complete. Once that was all successful, I was invited to the assessment centre, where we completed things like group activities, building landmarks out of paper, whilst we were sort of observed, so sort of group dynamics and things like that. I also had my interview on that day, which went successfully, and then I was offered the role.
Sounds quite a long, daunting process, was it?
I was nervous to begin with, but once you're there, I was there with 10 other people interviewing for the same position. So you sort of felt like you were all working for the same thing. You made friends. I'm still friends with some of the people I met on that day. So
It's quite interesting because you could see them as enemies, couldn't you?
Well,
if they're trying to get the same role as you.
There was multiple positions.
Oh, there were multiple positions. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, so then from that process, you spoke about the interview.
Yeah.
What kind of questions were you asked?
I was sort of asked about to relate to past experiences, sort of teamwork, character development. They didn't really ask me about past work as I was coming straight from school, so it was more focused on who I am as a person and what I'm looking to achieve.
And obviously we mentioned the fact that it was quite a long process and quite daunting and you were nervous at first.
Yeah.
That must have felt like such an accomplishment to get through all of those steps.
Yeah, I did feel proud after. It was definitely a big thing to go into, but they made it comfortable for me during the way.
Rewind 2 years, your first day at your apprenticeship. Talk me through that if you remember it.
So I was invited to the visitor centre at Rolls-Royce Goodwood, along with the 35 other apprentices in my year group.
35?
Yes, big year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started off with some icebreakers, got to know each other a little bit. Obviously, there were some familiar faces there from the assessment centre. We got on to some admin, uniform, handouts, and then we got a plant tour from older apprentices in our departments. We met our managers, co-workers, and then in the afternoon we had a talk from our plant director. He sort of told us about his journey. He started off as an apprentice however long ago, and it just shows the commitment from senior management to the apprenticeship scheme as well, which I think is important. Also, it shows that you can go from the bottom to the top.
It must have been memorable if you can remember that many details about it. That's quite impressive. Freddie,
yeah.
Freddie, can you remember yours?
Yeah, so I started in August last year in 2023. So when I arrived at Farnborough, I went into the reception and then I was greeted by my line manager. And we went for a coffee, got to know each other a bit more just to break the ice and sort of make me feel a bit more comfortable about the journey ahead and the day in general. So then he took me upstairs. I then met the team that I was going to be working with and they all introduced themselves. And then after that, went and collected my laptop and that sort of admin-y stuff and get logged on. And then Beth was also with me and we were downstairs and I met the rest of my cohort and we had various presentations from HR talking about the business and what to expect, and then also previous apprentices talking about their experiences. And then the CEO came in and introduced himself and spoken in the treasury. So for example, I produce a treasury report each month with various graphs and pieces of data that I send off to senior management to help with their job on the business's performance over the month and then over the year. And I really didn't expect that to happen, because I thought as an apprentice you just do work on smaller things, but it was really, really nice to see that trust in me and be able to demonstrate my skills.
And make you feel empowered.
Yeah, and be able to see your work have a real impact within the business. Honestly, it's fantastic as an apprentice at 18, 19.
Bethan, talk to me about the most surprising thing that you found out.
Again, like Freddie, it is just getting that trust like within you in the business. No one's sat there holding your hand, checking over the work you're doing. As Freddie said, you are in charge of that, and it's your responsibility, and you own that. And it's also just amazing to be able to see what the impacts that you are making on the business, not just within your department, but within the business as a whole, like decisions that I can influence to help my manager with regards to pricing for cars can then be seen in later when the cars actually come to the UK market, which is just a massive piece of work, which is a great accomplishment.
I imagine to this next question, you're not going to say workload, because you said that you like a lot of workload and a bit of variety. What's been the biggest challenge for you?
I think the biggest challenge for me is actually just becoming integrated into the business. You know, we've come out of college and, okay, I had a part-time job, but working in a store on a shop front is very different to actually working in an office and office culture. You know, everyone's speaking to you. People you don't know in the business want to get to know you as a person as well as the job role that you do. And it's just such a welcoming environment within the business to make you feel welcome.
What kind of values and cultures does the BMW Group offer you that you like?
Definitely respect and trust. You know, I am respected. I remember on our first day with Freddie, some of the senior management came in and they said, if I'm ever in my office and I'm not busy, you're welcome to come in and sit down and have a chat with me, and you get to know senior management.
That's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you feel part of the team.
Not every business would do that. Ben, talk to me about the balance of study and working.
It's something that's tricky to get right first time off. I think you have to have a bit of experience with it before. So, you know, I would be lying if I said that as soon as I started college and work, it was perfect. Totally isn't. You know, it's all about finding your flow, really. I think that the main thing is that there's a culture where, you know, as these guys have mentioned a few times, that when you're an apprentice, you can reach out for help if you are feeling a bit snowed under and you're sort of like, you know, there's towards the end of the year, there's lots of assignments with heavy weighting, and managers are aware of that, and they make, you know, they make a lot of arrangements to help you, you know, try and get those done. If you need a bit of time at work, you can take it. Things like reading weeks, for example, where we're not in college, but we are meant to be taking that day and doing work. They give it to us, and you know, they're not expecting us to come in and work. I think the balance, though, is just finding your flow, really. It's like anything. I think if you're balancing your social life with your working life, or you're balancing social and study, or you're balancing anything, it's all about trying to figure it out and what works for you.
Let's talk about the social aspect.
Yes.
Do you have
my favourite.
special days, nights out? Is there anything special that happens?
Yeah. So a lot of the time there's either kind of sport played. So, for example, I'm on placement at Mini Plant Oxford, the home of Mini. There on a Wednesday is football. So if you like playing football, I'm not very good, but I like playing it. There's things like that, and that's a good way to kind of meet people from across the business. But there's also, you know, so many, we're all young people, we like to go out and have fun, and it's not hard to get a group of people together to go and go to the pub or go out clubbing. And I think that there's, you know, there's kind of a bit of a stereotype around the fact that if you're doing an apprenticeship instead of going to university, a lot of the questions that people ask me, you know, whether it's my friends or people thinking about apprenticeships, like, oh, you're just going to miss out on all the clubbing and things like that. But you don't really. I mean, in fact, tomorrow I'm going up to Nottingham University to see my friends to go clubbing. You know, you still have all that great time to spend socially. Of course, the only difference is that I have a bit more money than they do.
I was going to say, you probably have a bit more money than they do.
So it's me buying, you know, the Jaeger bombs, not them. But it's, yeah, I think that the social aspect is definitely there, and it's like anything, you have to go out and find it. I think that's, you know, the same as if you were doing, you know, university or not. I think that it's definitely there. So yeah.
Has anyone got anything to add to what Ben's just said there about the social kind of side of things?
You definitely spend more time doing a lot more lavish social life. You've got a bit more money. So myself and Freddie and some other apprentices, we normally go out at least once a week.
Go to the spa?
No, unfortunately we haven't had the spa trip yet, but we used to go golfing every week, so a bit of top golf, although my golf is absolutely shocking, so I'm not going to be the next Tiger Woods. But having that bit more money, and especially if you make good friends with your apprentices in your first sort of few days, those relationships really do help to make it a lot easier and the transition a lot smoother.
Something I haven't discussed with an apprentice before, and I'm going to just throw it out to you. Obviously, it's learning how to be in the work environment while studying, but you're also kind of thrown into the deep end in terms of managing your finances as a young person. Have any of you found that quite tricky? And what advice would you give to someone?
Yeah, I'd say definitely it is a deep end to be thrown into, but I had a part-time job before I started my apprenticeship, so I'd sort of got a bit of experience with managing money. But then also I would add that at Farnborough we've had HSBC come in and talk to us and offer various courses about how to manage your money. There was an investment course about if you're interested in investment, so I'd really say BMW, they've been very supportive on that and offered lots of resources enabling us to sort of get used to it and help us going forward, because they are invaluable skills really.
That's fantastic. So don't just invest in Jaeger bombs, Ben, is the advice there. So do any of you work from home or are you all on location?
No. So yeah, I work from home 2 days a week, and I have done since my second month at Farnborough. So I actually live almost 2 hours away from the office, so I commute down on Monday to Wednesday, spend my Monday to Wednesday in the office, and then Thursday, Friday I work from home. And then again it goes back to that trust with my line manager within me to be able to work from home at 18, 19 and be able to get the work done. I think it really does go back to that, and it's great that they can trust you to be able to have those sorts of freedoms, because otherwise I'd have had to have permanently relocated, I would have thought. So it's great.
Where do you stay when you're in the office? Do they help with kind of accommodation?
So yeah, I had with HR when I first got my offer, they offered support enabling me to look for different places to stay from, whether I was going to move permanently. They'd have helped to look for ways that I could relocate, or if I wanted just to look for a semi-permanent thing, which I'm doing now, staying Monday to Wednesday. So I stay in an Airbnb on Monday night and Tuesday night. But again, the social life's great. We go out and see each other on a Tuesday, so it's not lonely at all. Mm-hmm. And then Thursday, Friday, work from home and I'm back with my home friends. So it's good.
Nice bit of variety, because working from home all the time can be quite difficult for some people, can't it?
Yeah, it's definitely really good to be able to go into the office on Monday to Wednesday and get that social interaction with people in your team. And it's also invaluable to be able to make the networking and the connections around the business, because I just don't think you can get that from home. You need to be in the office, going for coffees with people, going for lunches with people, and just building those relationships internally, especially as an apprentice, because you're looking to progress into the future. And if there's not a role at the end of your apprenticeship within the team, you need to have the connections to be able to move around the business.
Let's talk about progression then. We've heard this evening from lots of different people about the skills and characteristics that you need as an apprentice, determination, you need to have that work ethic. Do you think that doing an apprenticeship gives you an advantage in terms of aspirations? Do you feel more driven because you've done an apprenticeship?
I think so, because you're working for a business and you're having to balance your study alongside your work, and you're not just focusing on your study, you're also focusing on the work aspect as well. And being able to see, you can see the career development, and then you're also planning it. And you see when at the end of your apprenticeship you're looking for your job, and then you're always focusing on the next thing. You're never just stalled within the apprenticeship and studying or at university.
Does anyone else have anything to add about career progression? That was really good, Freddie, thank you. Yeah? No? You can say no, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the apprenticeship I do has 4 placement years, and that really, as Freddie was saying, gives you quite a bit of a network, and you build up lots of different experiences and lots of different places. And I think that really helps you to kind of pick your path a little bit. You kind of figure out what you like, and I think also the experience that you get is worth so much more than people I think originally think, because when you get into those situations, you might have an issue with a project or something like that. You think, I remember back to something I did in mini marketing, and that's how I'm going to, I'm using those skills that you develop, and I think that gives you almost a head start over people that are coming in fresh to the business. And it's also about, I think, developing your understanding and almost your integration, as the guys also touched on. You're embracing the culture, and that kind of gives you, again, that little bit of head start over people coming in. And I think that, again, is all positive in progression.
And being able to jump around different departments and different teams links back to that networking that you spoke about, making friends, but also getting key contacts that potentially you could work for in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's also, hierarchy is obviously a thing in all businesses, but I think that the nice thing we can all agree on with our workplaces is that you can really easily talk to people that are much higher than you are. They always give you the time of day, and if they can't make a meeting or things like that, they always reschedule. They always want to, embrace sort of young talent and this fresh thinking that apprentices do bring. And I think that, the more you build those networks with people, the more likely you are to, further down the line in your career, use them. And I think that's something that we all feel like we've been taught. I don't want to speak for you guys, but
they're all nodding in agreement, so I think we're okay. So let's go along the line then, and want to hear some advice that you would give to someone who's considering an apprenticeship with the BMW Group. Why should they go for it?
I've talked for so long, so I'll let you start.
Cop out, that was.
I think just the opportunities that it can open up for you, even if you're not intending on staying after the apprenticeship, you can leave with all of this experience, knowledge. It's not just, you don't just learn about the product, you learn about manufacturing, sales, marketing, whatever department you are working in or placements you've been on, you will take the knowledge from that. So I'll be leaving, if I do leave, with the knowledge from multiple different departments, whereas if I had a normal job there, I would only have one.
Thank you, Charlie.
My biggest advice would be to research the company that you're going to work for, because there's no point applying for a company if it doesn't interest you and the job that you're going to do for the next 2 to 4 years isn't interesting at all. We're really lucky within BMW that in our first few weeks we went on a trip, team building trip, where we got to meet all the other apprentices from different sites, so people from the engine plant, Hams Hall, Rolls-Royce Mini and BMW, so that networked our apprenticeship group as well, not just within Farnborough, Mini, Rolls-Royce, but also within all the apprentices in the UK.
Where was that trip?
It was in Cornwall.
Oh, lovely. I love Cornwall. Have any of you been abroad with your role? Or is that something you can do?
So recently we've been told about a program that BMW are offering called the MOVE program. So that's where there's a chance for a 6 to 8 week placement to one of our plants abroad. So most are based in Germany. You've also got locations like Spartanburg, Mexico, South Africa. So they are holding applications for that. So it's not something you are put straight onto, something that you can work towards. And it's also an achievement to, if you do end up doing that, to have that. So you will also move on to departments which relate to what you do at your home plant, and you're sent out with multiple apprentices from the UK, so you're familiar with some people at least.
Fantastic. Ben, was that what you were going to say, or was there something else?
I was going to say it. There was something else. So in October I went to Munich, where headquarters of BMW Group and where BMW started, and that was to do various bits of media training. So it, again, relates back to that, just broadening that network, but also, giving you training that's going to help you in your future job roles, or, in your current job roles, of course. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did you have to apply for that as well?
No, so that was part of the department that I was working in.
Ooh, good department.
So yeah.
And back to Freddie, pass the mic along for his advice that he would give to someone considering an apprenticeship.
So yeah, similar to what Beth was saying really about the research, but what I'd say is if you go onto the BMW Group page, you can see our core values, and I'd really try and apply those values to yourself. Because when you're applying, you apply the BMW Group to yourself, and the values and how you can relate to that will really help and show a really keen interest to your potential hiring manager. And then I'd also add, just if you're not successful, just keep going. It's all about resilience really with apprenticeships.
Well, Freddie and Bethan and Charlie and Ben, thank you all so much for sharing all of your insights. And thank you to our live audience who have joined us and to everyone at home who is tuned in online. Remember, this will be available on demand once the broadcast has finished if you want to go back and watch any bits and bobs once more. Also check out our social media page and our website. Next week we'll be doing another chat with Deloitte, so do make sure that your eyes and ears are peeled for that. And once again, thank you so much for joining us on your guide to apprenticeships from Not Going to Uni.
And that's it for tonight. We really hope you learned a lot tonight. And if you're eager to learn more, we have so much more information over on our website and YouTube channel. And that's not all from us for apprenticeships. Next week is National Apprenticeship Week, and we will have loads of information all across our social media. And if that's not enough, Tuesday night at 5 p.m, we will be live in the studio with Deloitte discussing their opportunities as well. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely night and best of luck with your future career. Goodbye for now.